College football is more than a game. It's a blend of deep-rooted history and rich tradition. In the last 40 years, we've seen teams that are nothing short of legendary. Players who've become icons of the sport, and now the game has truly become a national obsession. But imagine if we hit the rewind button back to 1980 and we were able to re-simulate history. Well, that's what I've done. I've crafted 30 of college football's finest players from 1980 and placed them back at their original schools. But the real twist comes with each offseason. I'm going to be adding the top 23 recruits from the actual recruiting class of that year. We're going to track their journey from the start of the recruitment process to National Signing Day. This is going to fuel the new dynasties of the sport and reshape the college football universe. Then I've also made 24 of the best coaches of all time and reset their age to 22 and restarted their coaching careers at the school where they became legends. And we're going to watch their careers unfold, tally their wins, watch them chase national titles, and we will see who will emerge as the new greatest coach of all time. We're also going to follow along with each season, dissect player stats, follow team records, catch the biggest games live, and witness the crowning of new national championships. Now, I'm also going to be keeping track of the best player, coach, and team of each decade. So I'm going to need you guys to help in the comment section below telling me who should win each award. And at the end of each decade, I will be making a poll on my YouTube so you guys can vote on the winner. So if this sounds like something you would be into, make sure you sub to the channel so that you can help vote on the polls and so you don't miss any of the uploads in this series. In total, we're going to have over 920 custom-made recruits over 42 recruiting classes. This isn't just a simulation, it's the most ambitious NCAA football series ever tried on YouTube. It's going to be spanning 7 parts and 28 hours to get through all 42 seasons. And right now, this is going to be part 1 of this series, and we're going to be going for 7 years, going from 1980 to 1986. All right, guys, so here we go. Now, you just watched the intro, and I'm going to touch on a few more things I went over in the intro just to really drive home a few points before we get started. Now, I'm super excited for this, guys. This is going to be the biggest, most insane thing anyone, I promise you, has tried on this college football, NCAA, anything. So, planned, there is going to be 6 videos. Each is going to be 4 hours long, so it's going to be 24 hours in length, this total series. So if you watch it from start to end, it is going to be 24 hours, and there's going to be 1 video a week for the next 6 weeks. So this is going to be just absolutely insane, and we are going to be covering 42 or 43 seasons. I'm not 100% sure. I might play one more. We'll see how long it goes. But 42, 43 seasons over 6 videos. So each one is either going to be 7 or 8 seasons long, and it's going to be all done in 4 hours. So each season, I'm going to try to cover as much as I can in about a 30-minute segment. So every season you watch will take about 30 minutes of video time. Now, there are going to be 3 main components to these videos. There is going to be the real life recruiting. So basically how recruiting services worked, they didn't really make recruiting rankings that I could find until about 2001. And I wanted to start in 1980. So what I did is I went on in the NFL draft and I looked at the draft in 1984, and then I subtracted back 4 seasons. So if 1984 draft would equal you were a freshman roughly in the 1980 season, and I just went on like that. So I'd look at the NFL draft, look at the best players, subtract 4 years back from when they were drafted, and that is their recruiting class. So it's not going to be perfect necessarily what guys until we get to 2001 when all the recruits were actually tracked, but you're going to see all the biggest legends basically over the last 40 to 50 years of the NFL and college football in this video. So it is going to be absolutely insane. So there's going to be real life recruiting classes every single year that we're going to follow along and see where each player goes. And in the NCAA 14 mod that I'm playing on, you can max create 23 players in each recruiting class. So that is how many I make each year. So each year there's going to be 23 real life recruits, and the rest will be auto generated. Then we're going to be focusing on the team teams. We're going to be following along with each season, seeing which teams are performing the best, who's falling off, who's, winning national championships, all of that. Then I also did something different this time. So I did do one of these resets where I reset to 2001 in simulated football. But this one I did something different, is I created 25 legendary coaches. I'm going to get into this more later, but I created 25 legendary coaches, put them all 22 years old. So I want to make sure they don't retire, hopefully before the end of the video. 22 years old, and they all have 0 wins, 0 losses, 0s for everything. And we're going to be able to track and see over this 42-year period which coach has the best record, most All-Americans, most Heismans, everything. So we'll be touching on that later. Then also in this video, guys, I'm going to be doing the teams of the decade. So each decade so we're starting in 1980 right now till 1990, we're going to do the team of the decade, the player of the decade, and the coach of the decade. So I'm going to try to keep notes and track each decade the best I can. If you guys want to help me in the comments after you watch through a decade, be like, oh, I think this guy was the best player, here's why, this team was the best, this coach was the best, anything like that. And then I'm going to be running polls on my YouTube channel. So we need 4 nominations for each decade for each one of those spots. So team, player, and coach. And I'm going to put a poll on my YouTube, and then you can vote on which player, coach, and everything that you think was the best. So definitely help me in the comments, guys. Leave comments. It's going to be hard for me to follow along and keep track of everything. So, if you can help, definitely leave that below. Then one other note before we kind of get going is when I did this reset, I did it 2001 to 2020. I did get quite a few comments, people saying you're only focusing on the blue bloods, focus on other teams. Guys, I'm doing 43 seasons. There's 120 teams. I will not be able to focus on all the teams. It's just not realistic at all. We will be focusing on the top 10 to 15 teams each year for the most part. I will try to look at some of the other teams and stuff, especially when we're looking at the coaches. We will track them and how they're doing. But for me to track all the teams and stuff, give them time, it is just too difficult. Think about when you're watching a college football show, on ESPN or Fox or whatever, they're going to be focusing on the biggest teams, the biggest names, because you can't focus on all 120 teams. So some people don't like that. They want me to focus on other things more, but it is just too difficult. I don't have time. I want to keep each one of these videos under 4 hours. So it's going to be 24 hours in total. So that is my reasoning, guys. If you have a problem with that or whatever, I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best to touch on as many teams as we can, but that will be the idea. And then for the seasons, guys, we're going to try to watch 3 games a year. So I'll hop into, usually we're just going to sim through, but we're going to hop into the games about 3 times a year and watch, I'll super sim and we'll watch some plays. So usually we have one big regular season matchup, one of the best conference championship games that we like matchup wise, and then the national championship game. So that is kind of a quick rundown on what we are going to be getting into, guys. Now, first, we're going to look at the rosters, then we'll look at the coaches, and we're going to get into recruiting. So how I did the rosters, guys, is I couldn't create all the players who were playing in the 1980 season, 79 season. It just wasn't feasible. So what I did is I created 30 of the best players who played in the late 1970s. So, you can see the list right here. We got Anthony Munoz at USC, Earl Campbell at Texas, Art Monk at Syracuse, Russ Grimm, Lawrence Taylor at North Carolina, Warren Moon at UW, Joe Montana at Notre Dame, Mike Singletary, Ronnie Lott, Jacob Green, Billy Sims, Dan Hampton, Kenny Easley, all these players, Kellen Winslow, Dyke Clark, Jim McMahon, Mark Gastineau, Doug Martin, Marcus Allen at USC. All of these guys that all the way down are real players. Mike Munchak till we get to about here. Art is a real player, the quarterback at Ohio State. Then the rest of the roster, guys, is going to be the 2023 NCAA roster. But what I did is I just went and anybody who was above a 93, I just shot them way down. So they're in the 80s now. So there isn't going to be those the only really star players are going to be the created players who played in the 1970s. There are going to be real life players who played in 2023 just throughout the rosters. But once we get simulating and we're 3-4 years in, it will all be new players. It will all be players from our recruiting classes. So real life, players from this era, guys. And then, we're just going to keep going down all the way from 1980 to 2022, 2023. So that is kind of a look at the rosters. Now I want to look at the coaches. So this idea, I've been thinking about doing this reset, this sim for a few months or about a month and a half. And then about a week and a half ago, I thought, what about this coach idea that I had? So what I did is I made 25 of the best coaches of all time. Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin, Bobby Bowden, Mac Brown, Pete Carroll at USC, Jim Harbaugh, Woody Hayes, Lou Holtz, Don James at UW, Jimmy Johnson at Miami, Chip Kelly at Oregon, Mike Leach, Urban Meyer at Florida, Robert Nealand at Tennessee, Ed Orgeron at LSU, Tom Osborne at Nebraska, Joe Paterno at Penn State, Gary Patterson at TCU, Nick Saban at Bama, Bo Schembechler at Michigan, Howard Schnellenberger, he also coached at the U at Louisville, Kirby Smart at Georgia, Steve Spurrier at South Carolina, Dabo at Clemson, Barry Switzer at Oklahoma, Kyle Whittingham at Utah. Now, I made each of these guys 22 years old and they've never coached a game, right? So we will be able to track from the first game, and we'll be able to watch for 43 years unless guys retire. I hope they don't. And we'll be able to watch who is the best record. Some of the guys will move, get fired, go different places, and we'll be able to track them all. Also notice I called each coach Barry A. Alvarez, Bobby A. Bowden, Mac A. Brown. They all have an A at the start of their name. That was just so when I sorted it, now I can sort by name, and our 25 coaches will come to the top. So that just makes it easiest for us to track. If I sort by name, it'll be the first 25 coaches. We can just look at them that way. And then it's in like alphabetical order inside of that. So that is why I did that. And I also tried to make these coaches similar to how they coached in real life. So for example, Tom Osborne at Nebraska, he ran a option offense. So I gave him an option playbook and they're going to be super run heavy. And I tried to do that for each one of the coaches so they will play similar to how they played in real life. I think this is going to be one of the coolest things of this whole sim, guys. I think this is going to be so fun to just keep track and watch. Then there was a few guys like Ed Orgeron, probably wasn't the best coach in LSU history, but I wanted some more passing teams because I didn't really mess with how they look because it doesn't matter. We have a lot of really run heavy teams like Barry Switzer at Oklahoma, Nebraska, Pete Carroll at USC, all kind of run heavy. So I wanted to include more passing. So that's why a few guys I went Ed Orgeron. I made it more. I went for more of when they had Joe Burrow and stuff for that style of offense. Or Nick Saban. Obviously, at the start of his career, he was a run heavy pro style. Then later in the year in his career, he became more of a spread offense, and I geared him towards more of the spread offense, just because so many of these guys are pretty run heavy because it's a lot more like old school coaches. So we are going to be tracking along with each one of those coaches. So we got all that, guys. Plus we have the recruiting, and the recruiting is my favorite part of these sims. I think it's the most interesting part. Oh, one other thing I haven't touched on. I know this is a lot of talking to get going, guys, but then we're going to hop right into this. So I am controlling Navy. I am just simming. I am not playing one game. I'm not recruiting one player at Navy. I'm doing nothing. They're just like my team. Yeah, sorry, I meant Air Force. They're just my team. I'm controlling. I'm literally not touching anything. And we are just following along, and we're letting the computer just do what it does. We're going to let the coaches do what they do. We're going to let these recruits sign wherever they want. And we are just going to see what happens. So we are going to go to recruiting now. And I've already made the 23 recruits for this class. Now, for this class, I kind of combined 1979 and 1980, both draft classes into one, just so we could have a really good first recruiting class. Then the next one is going to be the 1981 recruiting class, which was the 1985 NFL draft. Then it's 1982 recruiting class, which is the 1986 NFL draft. And it's just going to keep going down like that. So we're going to go in, and this is a really cool class, and especially at QB. There is 3 for sure Hall of Famers. I don't know if Boomer Esiason made the Hall of Fame in the NFL, but there is some high level QBs. The first one is John Elway, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's from Washington. He went to Stanford, and he is leaning at Alabama, LSU, Georgia. Whoever gets him, that'll be huge. There's John Hostetler, another good NFL quarterback. He's from Pennsylvania. Where did he go to school? He went to West Virginia. He's leaning at Penn State, Pitt, Ohio State, West Virginia. We have Boomer Esiason, played a long time for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jets and stuff. He went to Maryland. He's kind of staying in the Northeast. It looks like Syracuse, Penn State, Tennessee, Pitt. Then we have Dan Marino, like absolute legend. He went to Pitt. He's also from Pennsylvania. He's leaning Marshall, West Virginia, OU, Clemson, and Tennessee to start. Then the last one is Jim Kelly, also from Pennsylvania, but he went to Miami in real life, played for the Buffalo Bills, A&M, Tennessee, Oklahoma, OSU, West Virginia. Then if we go down to running backs, we got 3. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quick here, guys. We got Eric Dickerson, one of the all-time most fun backs ever. He went to SMU. He's leaning Alabama. So Alabama's first right now for him and John Elway, which would be crazy. Alabama, Nebraska, Texas, Notre Dame, Georgia. We got Roger Craig, who's also leaning Alabama, but then there's Notre Dame, SC, Auburn, LSU. And then we got Ernest Biner, who played for the Browns for a long time. He went to East Carolina. He's leaning Georgia Tech, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina. Okay, gonna go down to wide receivers. We have Henry Ellard. He went to Fresno State. I've never even heard much of this guy. He had like 13,000 yards in the NFL. Really good. So he's leaning OSU, A&M, OU, and Texas. We got Mark Clayton, who played with the Miami Dolphins when he was with Dan Marino. He's leaning Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn. We got Irving Fryer, who I believe was actually the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He went to Nebraska in real life. He's leaning UCLA, A&M, Oregon State, Iowa. And we have Mark Duper, who also played with Dan Marino and Mark Clayton with the Dolphins. He's leaning Oklahoma, A&M, West Virginia. So that's kind of our skill position, guys. Gonna kind of go a little bit quicker through here. We have no real life tight ends. We do have John Alt, who is a big offensive lineman playing for Iowa. And then our other one is Jimbo Covert, who played a long time in the NFL. He went to Pitt. So those are our 2 offensive linemen. Offensive tackles. Then we have Bruce Matthews, who played at USC. This is Clay Matthews, like old linebacker for the Packers. It's either his uncle or dad. I can't remember, but he played at USC. He's a Hall of Famer in the NFL. He's leaning Georgia, Tennessee, Bama. Okay, moving on to defense. We have no custom real life centers. We have defensive ends. We have Richard Dent, who is part of the 85 Bears. He played at Tennessee State. He's from the state of Georgia. He's leaning Georgia, Bama, Clemson, Florida State, Florida. We got Leonard Marshall, big defensive end. He played at LSU in college. In real life, he's leaning Bama, SC, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State. Then if we go D tackles, we have Keith Millard. He played at Washington State, played in the NFL for a long time. He's leaning SC. He's kind of staying West Coast, it looks like, probably. And then we have Bill Moss. The further we get in the sim also, guys, you're going to know more of the guys, and I'm going to know more, obviously. Like, once you get to the 2000s stuff, I know all the guys. Some of these guys, like, I was just looking through, their draft, who had really good NFL careers, who had good college careers, and I was trying to make my list off that. So, Bill Moss, big D tackle. He went to Pitt in real life. He's looking at Ohio State, Texas, Bama. Outside linebackers, we got a few. We got Wilbur Marshall, who played at Florida in real life. He's leaning Florida, Miami, Alabama, Georgia. And then the other one should be Carl Banks. Let's see. Did I make him a middle by accident? I don't know. Maybe if I didn't accidentally make Carl Banks. Oh, no, that was going to middles there. Okay, so Carl Banks is a outside linebacker. He played on those really good Giants defenses with Lawrence Taylor, and he went to Michigan State in real life. Then we have middle linebacker, who is this Wilbur Marshall, who played at Florida. He's leaning Florida. Then we have 2 more. It is Darrell Green, corner, played in the NFL forever, one of the fastest players of all time, played with the Redskins for a long time, NFL Hall of Famer. He's leaning at Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Bama. Then we got this Joey Browner, who played in the NFL for a long time. He was like the 20th overall pick in the draft. He went to USC in real life. He's leaning Notre Dame, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan. So that is the recruiting, guys. And basically, we're going to look at the recruiting at the start of each season. Then we're going to look at it about the midway point. We might look at it really quick at the end of the year, then National Signing Day. So we'll look at it 4 times throughout the year. And obviously, the further we get along to, we'll go through it quicker. I know that was a long intro, guys, and it is just a ton to go over for this first season. But now we got all that out of the way. we're just going to get into the sim and get it rocking. Okay, now at the start of each season, this season will be a little bit weird because it's kind of going off weird rosters, but we're always going to look at the top 25. So we got Georgia 1, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, USC. It looks like USC might be the best team on paper. A's kind of across the board, B+, A-, Texas. We'll usually look at the Heisman Watch and preseason All-Americans, but once again, this is going to go off the old rosters kind of. It's not going to be updated with all the players I created, but for all the next few years, it will go look at preseason All-Americans, all that. It's just going to be really weird right now because I messed with all the rosters, so it's going to kind of go off weird things. I do want to look at this championship contenders though, especially for like next year and the year after. So projected next year, Clemson looks like the best, just kind of what they're looking at going forward. Georgia, Ohio State, USC. Then we have Ohio State, Bama, Florida State. Alabama's not great for these 2 years, but they get really good going further. Ohio State looks like the most kind of consistent over the course of this early years, but the recruiting this year and stuff is going to impact that a ton. Then what we usually do is we'd look at the rosters, but we kind of already did for the most part. Like once we get further along, I'll really do deep dives in the rosters each season, but it's all going to be just kind of these created guys that we're really going to be focusing in on. And then as we get all the recruits and we're going to see where people sign, and we'll get more into that. But this first year, we're just kind of getting going. We're going to sim through week 8 and then we'll kind of see where everything is sitting. All right, so we are through week 8. Now we can kind of start looking at some stuff. So we can look at the top 25 here and we'll see what teams. So Ohio State 7-0 right now. Oklahoma, Kansas State, Clemson, Mississippi State, Pitt are all our undefeateds. Oh, and Florida. So that's kind of where we're sitting. We got Penn State, Ohio State right now. Where's USC? USC's 5-1. I want to see, who do they play? USC would be a cool one to watch. Also Notre Dame. I'm trying to think of teams who have, you know, some good players. It'll be cool to watch the games once we get a little bit further along, because we'll have way more players we know throughout. So Warren Moon right now is actually second in the Heisman. Cade Klubnik. We have a lot of injuries in the Heisman chase. That's a little weird. I want to watch some of USC. I think it'd be fun to watch Marcus Allen. And they have Anthony Munoz and Ronnie Lott. So we might just wait till the end and go them and UCLA at the end. But I want to kind of just look at all teams here and look at some of the stats so far. So yards, Will Rogers, Cade Klubnik, Warren Moon, and Joe Montana are like 4th and 5th in yards. They both have 19 touchdowns, 8 picks, and 4 picks. So both, you know, off to really good starts here. If we look at rushing, the Cincinnati, OU, I don't know why these running backs are all hurt. It'll be interesting to see like teams like Oklahoma and Nebraska, like this Oklahoma running back. They're running wishbone and like triple option stuff. These teams are going to run for so many yards. We look at receiving. This is kind of where we're sitting. We don't really have a ton of real life receivers right now. But like I said, as we get going through these years, this is going to be really cool to look at. Look at like points per game. So Clemson, Michigan, UW with Warren Moon, Oklahoma. I don't know. Yeah, they don't really have any of our real life players right now, but they're up there. Oregon, Florida State. Can look at all just also defense, what defenses are performing right now. Ohio State is killing it. Boise, Penn State. Cool. Okay, so I think I might sim to like week 15 and we could look at possibly USC, UCLA might be a good one for the first year to kind of watch. Okay, so we're in week 15 here. We're going to look again at the top 25. So UCLA and USC are both ranked. So they're 6 and 7 right now. Clemson, Florida, we have a ton of unbeatens right now. We got Michigan, Ohio State. But I think this UCLA USC game is going to be a good one to watch. So how I do these guys is I simulate quite a bit. We're not going to watch a ton, but if it's close in the end, stuff like that, we definitely will watch some of it. So here's where each team sits. Pretty evenly ranked teams. USC's defense is a little better. So they have some, USC has, oh, that's what I forgot to look at, recruiting. We're going to look at recruiting right after this. Usually I want to look at it at the midpoint of the season. That's my bad. Ronnie Lott, sack, int, 4 TFLs, Munoz, Marcus Allen, 1,100 yards. There's Kenny Easley, big time safety in the NFL, 15 tackles, forced fumble, 2 picks. There's the injury report. So USC, UCLA, 1980 season. Kenny Easley, Ronnie Lott, Marcus Allen, Anthony Munoz. Okay, who gets the ball first, actually? USC does. We'll watch a bit of this first drive here. Like at QB right now, they do have Caleb Williams. I made him like an 88 overall, so he's not some like superstar. I want to make sure the only superstars. Oh, there's Marcus Allen breaking through. He looks fast. I want to make sure the only superstars were the guys from the 80s. Everyone else is going to be, good players. I just didn't have time to like go create all new rosters. That was a cool run there for Marcus, so I like that. He looks explosive in that backfield for the Trojans. Okay, hand it off to Marcus again. Puller, ooh, breaks a tackle. Okay, Marcus Allen is looking like a beast already. I think he's only a sophomore right now. Okay, we're gonna we'll sim through this first quarter now. I just want to take a quick look at Marcus. 10-0 USC. Okay, USC's kind of taking it to him here. We'll actually watch from here. 192 yards to 19 for USC over UCLA. That's mean. Gonna hand it off again. This is the backup running back, not Marcus. Okay, second down, still no Marcus Allen. I hope he's not hurt. 192 to 19 yards. They're trying to go up 17-0 here. Oh my gosh, and they fumble. UCLA. That might have been Kenny Easley with the forced fumble. I think it might have been. Okay, that's going to give UCLA some life. Let's, we'll go through this quarter now. Yeah, that does. 10-7. And it is 10-10 at the half. UCLA with the big comeback. See here. It's kind of going back and forth. UCLA up 17-10. 17-point swing. UCLA, okay, 17 all. Okay, we're in fourth quarter now. Okay, we got 3rd and 9 here for this USC team. One loss for both these teams. So this is an absolutely massive game. He's got Marcus Allen in the flats. Fires over the middle. Misses his target. And the USC is going to be held to a field goal here. Okay. Let's go next change. Okay, UCLA is driving. Okay, UCLA's got 3rd and 8 now. Ronnie Lott is going to be number 42 on the back end at safety on the top kind of corner of the screen right here. Let's see if Ronnie can do something. Fires it over the middle, and that's a big completion for UCLA. USC must have missed their field goal. Logan Loyan, 162 yards. And there we go. UCLA scores, goes up 7, and it's 3rd and 19. Okay, UCLA is probably going to win this. 1st and 10, first. Yeah, UCLA is going to win this thing. They're up 10 points. USC. Oh, USC just hit a 56-yard touchdown. Okay, USC does have all their timeouts second. So they got 3rd and 13 with 57 seconds left. USC has 1 timeout, so they can stop it and get the ball back with about 50 seconds left. If they run it, they do. USC stops them, calls a timeout. There's going to be 50 seconds left. USC needs a crazy drive right here. Punt, 49 seconds left. Let's see. Fumble recovered by UCLA, and that is going to do it. So UCLA beats USC, takes down Marcus Allen, Munoz, and Ronnie Lott. Okay, we'll look at the stats for that one. Okay, I want to look at Marcus, 127. So decent day, obviously, for him. Defensively, did our boy Ronnie 4 tackles, didn't do much. I want to see, did Kenny Easley, he had 8 tackles at TFL. Did he force that fumble, though? Yeah, he did. That was Kenny Easley who forced that fumble on the goal line. That was the play they gave. They were down 10-0. USC was trying to go up 17, and that fumble flipped the game on its head. Okay, I want to look at recruiting. So usually I want to look at this at the mid-season point as well, but I totally forgot. So now we're going to go through and we're going to be able to see where all these players are leading. So we got John Elway looking like he might go to Tennessee, maybe Oregon, maybe LSU. Jeff Hostetler goes to Pitt, locked in. Boo. I hate when the QBs do this. They both go to Pitt. And then Dan Marino goes to Clemson. That's huge for Clemson. Jim Kelly's looking like Oklahoma, maybe OSU. In real life, Dan Marino went to Pitt. Instead, they get Boomer and John Hostetler. It's going to be crazy to see where Elway goes. It looks like Dickerson's either going to go to Nebraska, Georgia, or Bama. I low-key kind of hope Nebraska, just because they're going to play triple option. He's going to run the ball so much. Roger Craig goes to LSU. That's a huge get. Ernest Biner looking like North Carolina, Auburn, or Georgia. Wide receivers, Henry Ellard is looking like OSU, maybe Texas. Mark Clayton looking like Ohio State, maybe Notre Dame. Irving Fryer locked in at UCLA. That's a huge pickup for UCLA. Mark Duper looking like A&M, Clemson. Those two, definitely not actually West Virginia. That'd be huge because Dan Marino went to Clemson. It'd be wild if they got Duper as well. We have no tight ends. Tackles, John Alt OSU looks like they're doing pretty good with players. That's who he's kind of leaning. The other one was Covert. He's looking at Toledo, Ohio, Navy. Guard, Bruce Matthews going to Notre Dame. That's a huge pickup for Notre Dame. Richard Dent looking like Bama, Florida State, maybe Troy. Leonard Marshall looking like Ohio State, Bama, maybe USC. The tackle, Moss is going to Ohio State. That's a huge pickup for them. Millard looking like Cal, maybe Oklahoma or USC. Outsides, Carl Banks going to A&M. Middle linebacker, Wilbur Marshall looking like Miami, maybe Bama, maybe ECU, maybe Florida. Then corners, we got 2. Darrell Green goes to Oklahoma. That's a huge get for them. Joey Browner goes to Notre Dame. So that is kind of where our big creative guys are leaning. You can look at the top classes. A&M right now in first, UCLA, Pitt, Minnesota, Arkansas, Clemson, Cal. Clemson's already got 3 5-stars, a couple at QB, but there we go. So that's kind of where we're looking at recruiting. Now we're not going to look again until National Signing Day, but we're going to sim through this and we're going to go to Conference Championship weekend and just look what those matchups are looking like. Okay, so let's kind of look at these Conference Championship games. Got Toledo, Ohio, A&M, Florida, Boise, Pitt, Clemson, UCLA, UW, Wisconsin, Ohio State. I think this year, just because I got to keep these seasons somewhat shorter, and I did such a long intro at the start of the season, we are going to sim through this, and we're only going to watch a conference championship game this year. In the upcoming years, when we have more guys spread out, it's going to be better to kind of keep track of all that. So there it is. Warren Moon wins the Heisman Trophy playing for UW. 46 total touchdowns. Cool. Oklahoma versus Ohio State, 2 blue bloods, the only undefeateds in the country. Let's go take a quick look at their rosters, just because we haven't really zeroed in on the rosters a ton this year. We will be doing that more. I don't know if Oklahoma actually has any created guys. Ohio State, it's just their QB. I'm not even going to pronounce his name, but he is their one created player. The rest is just kind of their team. But you can see I dropped, like, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., but I made him an 87 overall. Like, he wasn't even like starting for them this year. We got Oklahoma. Oh, Billy Sims was their big guy, but he got injured. Oh, that's too bad. Billy Sims. He was going to be an absolute beast in this backfield. And he's a senior. That sucks. So this is going to be the national championship game. Once again, we don't have a ton of guys who we actually know in it that are real life players. So we're going to go through this one pretty quick, but as we get further along, guys, we are going to be focusing so much more on the players and the matchups, because we're just going to know who the people are and they're going to be real life players. We will go through this game, but we're going to go really quick in this, like I said, because I did have a long intro in this video, and yeah, I just want to make sure we can get through it. So that's where they sit. Oklahoma is the second offense in the country in points, the #1 rush offense. So they're playing their kind of wishbone style. They're number 6 on defense. Ohio State 2 on defense, 16th on offense. There's the top players for each team. So this is going to be big too, though, because who's Ohio State's coach? The winner of these 2 coaches, because these are both of our real life coaches, is going to start with a national championship already under their belt. At Ohio State, it is Woody Hayes, and then I didn't mean to return this, but for Oklahoma, it's obviously Barry Switzer. And they each, Ohio State, Woody Hayes won 5 national championships for Ohio State. Oh my gosh, I almost returned that, not even looking. And then Barry won 3 national championships. So whoever wins this is off to a nice early start in our coach. That's what really this is big for, is what coach is going to start 14-0 with a national championship, either Woody Hayes or Barry. Okay, so 3-0, 7-3, 14-3 Oklahoma. Oh, Ohio State just got stopped. 14-3, 17-3 Oklahoma. 24-3. I mean, we're just going to kind of sim through this unless Ohio State can make it close at the end here. 27-3. Oh, they got 2 quick touchdowns at the end, and they're driving right here to make it a 12-point game. They score. They get a 4-point game. But OU recovers and they can take some knees. So yeah, once again, guys, we're going to watch more of these games once we know more of the guys. But there we go. So Oklahoma wins the first national championship. All right, so that is going to wrap up year #1. We're just going to look at the final top 25 year. So Oklahoma wins it 13-0. they get it done over Ohio State. Look at the Heisman. So Warren Moon wins it. Gonna look at All-Americans. This is always interesting to look at. Warren Moon, Anthony Munoz, Russ Grimm at Pitt. That was kind of it for the 1980s players there. Obviously, like I keep saying, those are going to get filled up way more as we go. So Warren Moon led the country in passing. Rushing, that's where we were sitting. And here's where we were sitting for receiving. Okay, so here's where we sit for best offenses. Clemson, Oklahoma, Washington. Total offense, it was Clemson, Washington. Then if we go over defense, total defense, Michigan, points, A&M, Michigan, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Boise. Okay, now the last thing I want to look at before we get into the offseason is we can now look at all the coaches and just see how each one performs. That's why I sorted it this way, because now we can look in and just kind of see how each one's doing. So Barry Alvarez, 11-3. Bowden, Pete Carroll, really nice year at SC. Harbaugh struggled at Stanford. He's already on the hot seat. Woody Hayes did well. Lou Holtz, Don James, Jimmy Johnson, Chip. So we can kind of go all the way down. Take a quick look. Bama did not have a good year. Georgia, Clemson, OU wins the first national championship. We can see kind of their levels they're at. Career record for team winning seasons. Longest win streak, conference championships, natties. So we're going to be able to look at all this, guys, and just sort by all of this as we go down. Like, so who had the most All-Americans this year? Clemson had 6. That's really good. 4 for Florida, 3 for UW, 7 for Ohio State and Woody Hayes. So there we go. And obviously, the further we get, all that is just going to even be more interesting to look at. So we are going to go to the end of the season here, and we're just going to sim till National Signing Day. Okay, let's go National Signing Day here, and let's see where all these dudes ended up. John Elway ends up at Oregon. Oh, with Chip Kelly. Wow, Chip. And then we know our 2 guys at Pitt. We knew Dan, and Jim Kelly ends up at Oklahoma. That's huge for Oklahoma, but they're a running team and they got a sick pocket passer. So it's kind of an interesting match. Eric Dickerson ends up at Nebraska. I actually really like that fit. Nebraska gets just the perfect running back for them. Roger Craig at LSU, Ernest Byer at Georgia Tech. Wide receiver Ellard goes to Texas. Mark Clayton goes to Ohio State. Irving Fryer, UCLA. Duper at A&M. No tight ends. Tackle Joe Alt goes to Baylor. Covert ends up at Toledo. Guard Bruce Matthews ends up at Notre Dame. Defensive ends Richard Dent ends up at Bama. That's big for them. Marshall at SC. That's big for them. D tackle, we knew Moss and Millard at SC. So SC gets a couple of nice defensive linemen. Banks ends up at A&M. Marshall ends up at Florida, his real life school. Corners, Darrell Green, Oklahoma. Joey Browner at Notre Dame. Okay, now we're going to look at just the top classes, see where teams rank. So A&M gets the #1 recruiting class in the country. So that's where they sit, guys. A&M, USC, UCLA, Notre Dame, Clemson, Auburn, Oregon, Pitt were the top 8. That John Elway pickup for Chip Kelly is wild. Now we are just going to go to the next season. And yeah, I'm going to make the next recruiting class, guys, and then we're going to get right into season number 2. All right, so I just made the 81 recruiting class. So this is our 2nd year. This is a pretty good class. Definitely a little bit offensive heavy, but that's, I think, totally fine. And getting some really good offensive players. Like, there's multiple Hall of Famers on the offensive side of the ball, NFL. There's some good players on defense as well, but we're getting a really good influx of quarterbacks and running backs, receivers in these early years of this sim, which is definitely big. So we have 4 QBs. The first one is Doug Flutie, played at Boston College, electric, small but electric college football player. He's looking at Maryland, Vautech, Pitt, Notre Dame, Virginia. Then we have Steve Young, who obviously played at BYU, was, really good college football player, played in the NFL for the Niners, won NFL MVP, Hall of Famer. He's looking at USC, Notre Dame, Washington, Alabama, Florida, just kind of all the blue bloods. The next quarterback is Randall Cunningham, absolute beast. He played at at UNLV. Obviously played for the Eagles, Vikings, one of the most electric NFL players of all time. He's looking at Notre Dame, Washington, Florida State, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida. And then the last one is going to be Frank Reich, who played in the NFL, was an NFL head coach. He played at Maryland. He's from Freeport, New York. He's looking at Florida, Texas, Georgia, Nebraska, USC. So some really good, QBs. We had a bunch last year too. So really happy about that. Okay, now we're getting into the running backs, and we have two very interesting players. We have Marcus Dupree. He actually had a 30 for 30 made of him. Some people say he's the best high school running back of all time. Absolutely insane. I actually just watched his 30 for 30 like last week. It was really good, really interesting. He actually committed to Oklahoma his freshman year. He was incredible, and then it just kind of all went downhill after that. Now he's looking at Notre Dame, Michigan, Tennessee, Auburn, SC, A&M. Then the other one is Herschel Walker, legend of Georgia football. I believe he won the Heisman like 84, 85, something like that. He is actually not looking at Georgia, which I'm actually surprised about. He's a hometown kid. Looking at Oklahoma, though, if he went to Oklahoma playing in their option offense, really run heavy, that could be really cool. Okay, then we're going to go over to wide receivers. So I had some issues with my game freezing, so I accidentally made 2 Jerry Rices. So I don't know. I'll probably just have to delete one of them. I'll just pick whichever one I kind of like, what school they went to better. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That was just, my computer froze and I wasn't sure where it saved. So I actually made 2 Jerry Rices. We'll just kind of see. One's looking at Ohio State, Florida, OU, A&M. The other one's looking at LSU, Bama, Auburn, Ole Miss. So obviously NFL legend Jerry Rice. Then we have 3 others. We got Andre Reed, who played with the Bills, really good career in the NFL. I believe he made the Hall of Fame as well. He's from Pennsylvania. He's looking at Notre Dame, SC, Washington, Cal. We have Al Toon, who went to Wisconsin, big athletic outside receiver. He's looking at SC, Oregon, Cal, Stanford. And then our 4th receiver is Eric Martin. He played at LSU, played in the NFL for a long time. He's looking at SC, Notre Dame, Washington, Alabama. Okay, we go to tight ends. We actually have 2. We have Mark Bavaro and Jay Novacek, both, good kind of all around blocking, kind of do it all tight ends. Bavaro's looking at Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Bama. Novacek's looking at USC, Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan. If we go to tackles, we only have 1. It is Lomas Brown. He went to the U. He's from the state of Florida. He's looking at Florida, Florida State, Bama, and then some out-of-state schools with Bama and Georgia. That is it for offensive tackles. If we go to our guards, we have Raleigh McKenzie. He played for a long time. He went to Tennessee in real life. He's from the state of Tennessee. He's looking at Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, SC. No centers. If we go to defensive ends, we made 2 Bruce Smiths too. Jerry and Bruce. We're just going to have to pick one and we'll kind of delete the other one. Kind of annoying, but that's fine. So we had 2 Bruce Smiths. We'll just kind of see where they've signed and we'll go from there. One of the best NFL players of all time. He played at Virginia Tech in real life. We got Chris Dolman, who looking at Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan. He played at Pitt in real life. And then our last one is Kevin Green. Big outside linebacker, played for the Steelers for a long time in the 90s. Really good player. He's looking at Stanford, Cal, Villanova, and he actually played at Auburn in real life. We moved to D tackle. We got 2. We got Ray Childress, looking at SC, Notre Dame, Bama. He played at Texas A&M. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. Then the other one is William the Fridge Perry. He actually played at Clemson in real life. He's looking at USC, Michigan, Oklahoma, Bama. But William Fridge Perry, part of that 1985's Bears defense. If we go linebackers, we have no outsides. We do have a middle. It is Jack Del Rio, ex-NFL head coach. He played at USC. He's from Cali. He's looking at Cal, USC, Stanford, Nebraska. And then we got 2 DBs. We got Mike Pryor, played a ton in the NFL. He played at Illinois State. He's looking at Arizona SC and UCLA. And then our last player, he's going to be a strong safety. It is going to be Jerry Gray. Played a long time, pretty high pick in the NFL. He's looking at Arkansas, Bama, Oregon State, Duke, and Auburn. So that is our positions, guys. Pretty cool recruiting class. NFL Hall of Famers, like I said, spread throughout. We're going to have to I'll just have to look at Jerry and Bruce, and we'll just kind of get rid of them once I see where they commit. There's literally nothing I can do right now, so it is what it is. So we are just going to start this season number 2. So first thing I want to do, every new season, I want to look at our preseason polls, see who the kind of top projected teams are. So we got USC, who's an A+ across the board, Ohio State A+, Georgia A-, Oklahoma, defending national champs B+, Pitt, Michigan, Clemson, UW, BYU's an A-, UCLA, North Carolina, Florida, LSU, A&M, Notre Dame. So that's kind of our top teams right now. Then I want to look at Heisman Watch. Warren Moon won it last year, and he's back for his senior year, so he's actually in first. And Marcus Allen is in 5th for preseason Heisman Watch. If we look at preseason All-Americans, we got Warren Moon, Munoz, Sharp, Russ Grimm. Second team might be it as well. Another thing I like to look at is just the championship contenders. So for this year, it's going to kind of go off the preseason polls, but for the next year, so it has USC really good this year, then kind of taking a step back. It has Ohio State really good over the next few years. Georgia, really good for the next 3 years, then kind of falls off. Oklahoma, good, takes a bit of a step back, and then getting better. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're sitting for the next few years, just projecting. Now I want to quickly go through some of the rosters and just kind of see where we're sitting. So Bama, they haven't really got anybody. We're going to go more in depth the further we get along when all our recruits are getting higher and higher levels. Okay, so Will Shipley went up a lot. They do have Dwight Clark as well, real life NFL player, played for the 49ers. So Clemson looks pretty good this year. Florida, they got Chris Collinsworth, the NFL receiver and now announcer. Florida State, Georgia looks pretty good this year. I'm excited for a few years when all the real current players kind of time out, and then it's just going to be all our new created guys. So what, Miami, Michigan, Notre Dame, they still have Joe Montana. So yeah, Notre Dame's going to be tough just because of Joe. Ohio State has their Art, however you say his name. So he's kind of running the show for them. Oklahoma, they just got a QB, right? Yeah, so they got young Jim Kelly, who's actually probably going to start for them this year, it looks like. Doesn't really fit their running QB mold, but they got an all-world quarterback, and they just won the national championship last year. We also have John Elway going to start for Oregon as probably, a true freshman, so that's going to be really interesting. Pitt ended up getting a quarterback as well. They got Ricky Jackson, they got Russ Grimm, and they have a QB, Boomer Esiason, and they got Jeff Hostetler. So, that's kind of where our QBs ended up, is those schools. So a bunch of them are going to start as freshmen, which is going to be really cool to see. See, Tennessee, did they have nothing? Texas did Earl. So they have Earl still this year at Texas. He did not really do much last year, but let's see if they ride him a little more. A&M is supposed to be pretty good this year with Jacob Green as their kind of big stud. USC, Ronnie Lott, Munoz, and Marcus Allen is their top 3 players, and then the rest are current day players, but those 3, that's going to be pretty nasty this year. I want to look at Washington. They got Doug Martin and they got Warren Moon. He's thrown to Jalen McMillan and Roma Duzenzier. I dropped them. Rome's not as good as he was in real life this past year, but Washington's going to be tough with that at their at their helm. I also kind of want to quickly just go through all teams at some of the major positions. So at QB, best QBs, Warren, Joe, Jim McMahon at BYU. That's a pretty good fit for them. Art, and then kind of these guys, which are current players. We got Earl and Marcus Allen still. Wide receivers, Monk. How'd Monk do last year? He had 1,000 yards. Collinsworth had almost 1,000. Dwight Clark had 642 only, not a ton. And those are our 1980s players. Kellen Winslow, he had 719 last year. The ends, Doug Martin, Jacob Green, Ricky Jackson. Lawrence Taylor, how'd he do? He had 2.5 sacks, so not a ton. Right end, Mark Gastineau, he had 5.5 sacks. He tackles, they might have all graduated. Do we have any corners? Dixon is a real life 1980s player. Ronnie Lott, how'd he do? 22, he didn't really do much at all, honestly. How about Kenny Easley? He was a little better than Ronnie, but not a ton. So that's kind of where we're sitting with this year, guys. Like I keep saying, as we get going through this sim, all those rosters are just going to get so much more interesting. Okay, last thing I want to do before we start simulating here is look at the coaches. And I kind of cheated here and I did a quick look. So I didn't really know how all this coaching stuff was going to work beforehand. And I went through, and Jim Harbaugh actually got fired. And he got fired after 1 year at Stanford, and he is now the offensive coordinator at ULM, Louisiana Monroe. So that is super interesting. Just kind of looking. So even right now, Mac Brown, his job security is low. So Mac could get fired. Pete, all these guys are safe. Jimmy Johnson is low after a 5-7 season. Safe for now for 5-7 Mike Leach. Safe for now for Robert Nealon. Ed Orgeron, safe for now. Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno lasted like 1,000 years at Penn State, and he might not get through year 2 if he doesn't pick it up. So yeah, Gary Patterson safe. Nick Saban, job security low. So we might see Nick Saban just gone, and who knows? So this is going to get very interesting with some of these guys. Kyle Whittingham, he's safe. So we already got one coach down. Okay, so we're going to sim till week 8, and then we're going to look at top 25, look at recruiting, all that good stuff. All right, so we're in week 9 now. We're going to go quickly through recruiting here. And we're going to see where a lot of these guys are kind of leaning, halfway through the first season. So QB, Doug Flutie is looking like Maryland, maybe Virginia. Steve Young locked in at Bama. So if Nick Saban doesn't get fired, he's going to have a franchise, QB for the next 4 years. Randall Cunningham looking at Washington or Michigan. I think him taking over for Warren Moon at Washington would be really cool. Then our last one's Frank Reich. He's going to Georgia. That's a really nice pickup for Georgia. I like that. He really fits our system. We're pretty run heavy, do play action, stuff like that. Okay, we go to running back. Marcus Dupree going to Notre Dame. Herschel Walker looking at the small schools, Cincinnati, UCF, or Georgia Southern. Okay, wideouts. This is where it gets a little weird. So we have Jerry Rice, number 1, looking at OU, A&M, Florida. We have Jerry Rice, number 2, looking like Ole Miss, LSU, Bama. So we'll just have to see there. Eric Martin looking at Florida, Washington. Al Toon and Andre Reed. Andre Reed looking at Washington, maybe Kent State. If Andre Reed and Cunningham went to Washington, that would be really cool. Al Toon looking at ECU or USC. That's quite the stark difference, but there we go. Looking at Riley McKenzie, I got to go back up to tackle. He's looking at SC, Tennessee, Nebraska, Ohio State. Tackle Lomas Brown, he's looking at Miami, Georgia, Maryland. He's got a bunch of schools still kind of in the running though. Okay, going over to defense, once again a little weird here. So we have Bruce Smith looking at Vautech, Virginia, or basically Vautech or Virginia. Then the other Bruce Smith is going to USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Looks like he's barely getting recruited, so I don't really know what's going on there. We have Kevin Green, who locked in at Duke. That's interesting. And then Dolman, who's going to A&M. Moving out to D tackles, we got Childress, who's looking at SC, Bama, or Nebraska. William the Fridge Perry looking at Oklahoma, SC, or Bama. Outside linebacker, I don't think we have any, just middle. We got Jack Del Rio looking at USC, possibly Cal or Nebraska. No corners. We have free safeties. We got Mike Pryor looking at UCLA, maybe Arizona or USC could sneak back in. And then lastly, Jerry Gray looking at Arkansas, Auburn, New Mexico. He's got a lot of schools still in the running. So that's kind of where we are sitting at recruiting at the halfway point. So I'm going to do that every season, guys. I forgot in year 1. But yeah, now we're going to look at top 25. We got BYU with McMahon. We got Penn State, so it looks like our buddy Joe Pa won't be getting fired. Florida, Clemson, Ohio State, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, USC, Georgia, Oregon. Where's Bama? I'm worried Nick Saban's going to get fired already, which would be insane. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of where we're sitting there. What could be some good matchups? Notre Dame 7-1. They play USC the last game of the year, so we could see Joe Montana versus like Marcus Allen. I think that's maybe what we'll do. Ooh, maybe we'll do that. We could watch John Elway versus Warren Moon. That's in 2 weeks. Let's do that. John Elway versus Warren Moon. I like that. Okay, we're doing that. Let's look at Heisman Watch. Drew Aller. Joe Montana's in 4th at Notre Dame. We'll just look at some of the league leaders. So Joe Montana leading the country in passing. McMahon in 5th. Art, real life Ohio State QB. There we go. That's running backs. Receiving. Chris Collinsworth leading the country in receiving yards. Chrissy. Sacks. Nothing. INTs. That's where we're sitting. So we want to watch John Elway versus Warren Moon. Oregon versus UW too. That's a good rivalry. Yeah, okay, we're gonna sim to this game. They're both 4-2, 5-1, both ranked. Okay, Oregon ended up losing last week, so they're actually at 3 losses, but I still want to check it out, and you know, it'll be still cool to see Warren versus John. And Warren's a senior, so this will be his last year, so that's where we're sitting. Oregon's honestly not great offensively or defensively. UW looks honestly pretty freaking good. 5th on offense, 9th on defense. You know, pretty balanced. Irving, Warren Moon, obviously best player. You're a reigning Heisman winner for UW. Okay, we're gonna sim just through the first quarter. UW goes up and then Oregon ties it. Okay, here's a big 3rd and 10. Let's see if Oregon can do something with John Elway at quarterback. Let's see it. Johnny boy drops back, sits in versus the blitz and delivers a strike. John Elway had pressure in his face, stood in there as a true freshman and delivered a laser beam for 44 yards. My goodness. Warren Moon has got to answer back. We got a 3rd and 9 for Warren now. Wow. I was John. First play we watch of him. Just incredible. Okay, Warren, they're doing a little screen pass. Warren, pick 6. Okay, so we couldn't have seen completely different plays from 2 quarterbacks. Warren, not a pick 6, a pick on a screen pass, and all of a sudden Oregon has a huge lead. Okay, we're gonna go through the second quarter here. 20-14. Okay, Washington's got it 1st and goal, 30 seconds left. We'll watch from here. Trying to actually take the lead going into the half here. If they can get a touchdown, get their extra point. Warren drops back. They're doing another screen pass. Almost gets picked again. Maybe switch up your play calls here, guys. I don't know what we're doing there. Okay, 2nd and goal. They're going empty with quads to the bottom here. Warren Moon in shotgun. Drops back. Pressure in his face, and he is going down. And they're not going to call their timeout? Why would you do hurry up instead of use your last time out there? I guess in case they get tackled here. Warren shuffling in the puck. Oh my god, that was the worst throw I've ever seen. Yeah, Warren is so lucky that was not a pick 6. He literally did a lob pass to the flats. Okay, Warren, not your best effort here, but okay, let's go to the 4th quarter. 20-14, still Oregon. 23-14, and they're driving. 3rd and 8. Oregon can put a stranglehold on this game right here. Let's see what John Elway can do. The last time we watched him, he hit a 44-yard touchdown. What's he do on this play? John Elway drops back, fires it underneath. At least that wasn't a pick in the flats, and he put some, oomph into the throw and lob it up into the flats like Warren. Field goal they actually missed, so UW's got a chance if they can put a drive together here. They go down and score 21-23. Oregon punts to Washington. Washington punts to Oregon. Elway, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 5, 4th and 1. They go for it. Okay, here's a 3rd and 9 for Elway. Maybe in field goal range here. It'll be a long one. I don't know how good Oregon's kicker is. John Elway in shotgun here. He's playing in this Chip Kelly offense. Slides in the pocket. He's going to fire it into the end zone. That could have been picked. Tried to hit a seam ball. Probably put too much air under it. UW gets the stop, and Oregon misses the field goal. Washington drives right down and scores. They're up 6. Oregon needs something here. 3rd and 16 for John Elway. Game on the line here. They do have all 3 timeouts. We do not want to punt this football. Hey, Elway drops back. Fires a seam. Oh my goodness. A corner route along the sideline, and Elway drilled that. That was an amazing throw. 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2, throwaway. 4th and 2, they go for it. They get it. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 4. 1st and goal. Yeah, they got 1st and goal from the 2-yard line here for Oregon. 50 seconds left. Trips to the bottom of the screen. Let's see what John's got. They're going to hand it off. Oh, the linebacker breaks into the backfield and gets a huge tackle. Great play. And they, oh, okay, they called that a touchdown? Okay, I guess he got spun into the end zone. I missed that. I was very confused there. 2nd and 5, 1st and 10. Oh man, he just hit Rome and they're going for a game-winning field goal here. What was that? Okay, they're icing the kicker. Okay, UW trying to kick a game-winning field goal. What is going on? Okay, I guess they're just freezing them 3 times. That's fine. Let's see what Washington can do here. This is for the win. Win and you win, or kick it and you win. Miss it, you lose. The kick is up and it's good. Warren Moon leads a furious drive at the end there to secure the victory for Washington. Wow, okay, that was a wild game. Okay, let's look at some of the stats here quick. So Warren, 366. He threw 2 picks, though, which we saw both. Elway played really good. For a true freshman, 297, a touchdown on an absolute laser beam. Oregon obviously has a great young QB. I'm really hoping Randall Cunningham goes to Washington. We could see Randall Cunningham versus John Elway for a few years. Okay, we are going to just advance to conference championship weekend now. Then we'll look at recruiting once again here. We'll look at kind of the top 25, see if there's a conference championship game we want to watch. If not, we'll just go to the Natty. All right, so here we are at conference championship weekend. Let's look at recruiting and just see where a lot of the prospects will be signed now. Some won't be, but a lot will be. So Doug, still up in the air, looking like Maryland or Virginia. Steve, we knew. Cunningham ends up going to Michigan. That's a huge get for the Wolverines. And we knew Frank Reich, so that's our QBs. Running back, we knew Dupree. Herschel Walker ends up at UCF. What a pickup for UCF. Okay, so our 2 Jerrys, A&M, Florida, OU, Auburn, Ole Miss, LSU. Okay, we'll kind of just play that by ear. Eric Martin going to Florida. Andre Reed still looking like Washington or Kent State, and then Al Toon is going to ECU. Tight ends, Bavaro going to Notre Dame, Novacek going to Alabama. Tackle, Lomas Brown looking at like Florida, maybe the U. McKenzie looking like Nebraska or Ohio State. The end. Bruce Smith is committed to Va Tech. The other one is either USC, Ohio State, Michigan, still a bunch of teams. Kevin Green, we knew Duke. And then Chris Dolman, A&M. D tackle, we got Ray Childress, looking like SC, Alabama, Nebraska. William Perry looking like SC, OU, or Bama. Middle linebacker, Jack Del Rio. Before he was going to USC. Now it looks like Nebraska, Texas, maybe Stanford. Free safety, Pryor going to UCLA. That's a big pickup for them. Strong safety, Gray going to Indiana Hoosiers. Kind of quickly look, obviously that not everyone is signed here, so this is going to change a lot. But right now, Notre Dame has the #1 class, along with North Carolina, UCLA, Indiana. Notre Dame has 2 5-stars in Dupree and Bavaro. That is definitely a good twosome. Bavaro is going to be a nice blocking tight end to let Dupree run. Let's look at the top 25 polls. Penn State 12-0. So Joe Pa is not getting fired. I promise you that. Notre Dame has a good chance at making the Natty with Joe Montana. Ohio State, A&M, Washington, who's going to play USC here. Georgia, Bama's 8-4. Hopefully I just hope a lot of our coaches don't get fired. I want them hoping Bama stays around. Like, I don't want Nick Saban to get fired in year 2. Looks like Drew Aller is going to win the Heisman for Penn State. They're undefeated right now. Season stats, Will Rogers, Warren Moon is 3rd in the country in passing, rushing, receiving. Chris Collinsworth leading the way, 1,500 yards, sacks, and there's INTs. We'll look a little closer at all those as well later. Actually, we didn't even look at team stats. We'll look at team stats here a little bit. So best total offense right now, Penn State, UW. Points per game, UW, BYU, Bama. If you look at defense, points, A&M, Penn State, Georgia. So Penn State looks like an absolute wagon right now. So I think we're just going to sim to bowl season. We're going to watch more conference championship games once we have more of our 1980s players cycling through. But I would like Notre Dame, Penn State. That'd be a cool matchup. I'd like to see Montana in the Natty. So Drew Aller runs away with the Heisman, 2,000 votes. Okay, let's look at our matchup. It is Notre Dame, Penn State. I like that matchup. That's cool. Joe Pa, it is 2 of our coaches again, which I like. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's watch it. I like both years we've had 2 of, I'm going to be cheering for our coaches. So any of the teams our coaches are coaching, like the custom coaches, because it'll be fun to just kind of be able to track that and see how they do. So we got Joe Pa versus Lou Holtz in this game. Penn State definitely looks like the best team in the country on paper. Number 1 offense in yards, number 3 in points, first almost at every point for defense. Notre Dame looks good, and they obviously have Bruce Matthews, and they have who's a freshman, and they have frickin' Joe Montana. So that is going to be a help. But the Golden Domers make it versus Penn State. I like it. 2 just kind of old school teams. Joe Pa, Lou Holtz. Let's see who gets this one done. Okay, we're going to sim through the first quarter here. Okay, we got 2nd and goal. Joe Montana in at QB. Let's see what happens. They're going pretty heavy here. 2nd and goal in the first quarter. They're going to do a little toss, and Notre Dame scores the opening touchdown. Man, we've got some blue bloods. Last year, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Here, Penn State, Notre Dame. I like it. We got our coaches rocking. Oh, didn't want to mean to watch this, but we'll watch this. 3rd and 20. Let's see if Montana has anything. I'm assuming they'll just run draw or, you know, little screen pass, but we'll see. Joe drops back. He's got time. Is someone going to get open deep? Nope. He's going to go down and sacked. Penn State's defense comes up. Big chop Robinson. Okay, we're going to sim a bit here. 7-0 Notre Dame still. 7-3 Notre Dame. Let's go to half. 14-3 Notre Dame. 17-3. 24-3 Notre Dame. 24-10. 30-10 Notre Dame. They are taking it to this Penn State squad a little bit here. 3rd and 6. No. Okay, Penn State. 4th and 1. No. Oh my gosh. Touchdown. 73-yard rush. Okay, we're going to go to the 4th quarter. Let's see if Penn State can make 37-17 and Notre Dame scores again. It is 44. Oh, I didn't mean to punt or kick this, but there we go. Return this. I'll just let it go in, but 44-17. Unless Penn State has an absolute miracle up their sleeves, it is looking like Notre Dame is going to take this one home. We'll sim slowly through this. 20. Okay, they hit some big plays there. They got a big 3rd and 7 here for Drew Aller. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. Notre Dame, huge lead here. It's basically over, but you score here. You're down 20 with 6 minutes left. It's over, but let's see if Penn State can do something. That is a nice throw by Aller there. His receiver's going to get out of bounds. So, wow, Lou Holtz and Joe Montana trying to win the Natty in Joe's last year at Notre Dame. A little hurry up here for Penn State. Aller running a little draw, going down. Okay, we're going to sim through this pretty quick now. Just end of game, 44-21. Yeah, this is over. Penn State scores a late touchdown. It is a 51-21 win. Lou Holtz, that looks nothing like Lou Holtz. I didn't mess with their appearance. I just didn't want to waste time with that. But there we go. Notre Dame wins it in year 2. Let's see how Joe did. Joe, cool. Drew did not have the best day. Joe, really good. 385, 4 touchdowns in his final college game. He also ran for 57 yards. So Joe Montana was nasty in this one. Okay, we're going to advance the end of this season. Then we'll look at the final stats, look at all that good stuff. Okay, so that was kind of the final passing, rushing, receiving, tackle, sack leaders. Look at the final team stats. So total offense, UW first in yards, BYU, then UW, then Kansas in points per game. Defensively, Michigan had the number 1 defense in yards, Georgia in points with Michigan second. Look at our final top 25 here. Notre Dame, Washington, Penn State, BYU, some really good teams there with 1 loss, but Notre Dame gets it done, winning our 2nd national championship of the sim so far. Warren Moon, first team All-Pro. He's going to be, he's won a Heisman. He had some pretty nasty stats over his 2 years. We got to keep in mind, guys, to kind of keep, like right now, I'd say Warren Moon's got to be leading to be the best player of the 1980s so far. But help me in the comments, like I said, guys, later as we go. Wow, frickin' Collinsworth had 1,600 yards this year. It's going to be hard for me to kind of keep track, and we just got to be like a team and figure this out and see who we should have in each spot. And like for the coaches and teams, I think it'll be a little easier than trying to keep up with the players. That was all our All-Americans. So this will be interesting. So here's all the freshmen: John Elway, Eric Dickerson, Biner, Mark Clayton at Ohio State. I guess we could look. He had 1,200 receiving yards as a freshman, Clayton. Dickerson, 1,300 yards rushing. Elway, 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns. Biner, 1,100 yards. So these freshmen were incredible. Bruce Matthews, going down to defense. Millard was one of our real-life guys. Darrell Green at OU, 2 picks. Joey Browner at Notre Dame, national championship as well, obviously. So that's where we're sitting with All-Americans. So I'm actually not going to look at the coaches here. I'm going to look at the coaches at the start of each season, because that's when we'll see firings and stuff as well. So that is going to kind of do it for this second season. Now we're going to sim to National Signing Day right here, and we'll see where all these guys end up. Okay, National Signing Day. So all our boys will have committed at this point. So QB, Flutie, Maryland, which we pretty much knew. We knew the QBs. We knew running backs, wideouts. We'll go with Jerry Rice, because he went to Florida, which is one of our schools with our coaches. We don't have one of our coaches at Ole Miss, so we're gonna go with that, Jerry. Martin, he went to Florida as well, so that's sick. Andre Reed, who ends up going to Cal, and then Al Toon ends up at ECU. Tight ends, Bavaro, Notre Dame. Novacek, Bama. Tackle, Lomas Brown, Florida. So Florida got some guys. McKenzie goes to Ohio State. D-end, so we got Bruce Smith. Okay, once again, we're going to go with the Michigan Bruce Smith, just because that's one of our schools. We like with our coaches at it. We don't have one at Virginia Tech. Kevin Green, Duke. That's the first time it's happened to me where I've made multiple of the same player, and it was just because my game froze. Ray Childress ends up at SC. William Perry, so they get the 2 D tackles in their middle of their defense at SC. That's kind of cool. Del Rio ends up at Texas. Pryor at UCLA, and then Gray at Indiana, which we knew about. Okay, we're going to quickly just look at the top recruiting classes. So Notre Dame, defending national champions and the #1 recruiting class. UCLA, North Carolina, Ole Miss, UCF, USC, A&M, Oklahoma, Washington, Pitt were the top 10. Okay, we're just going to advance to the next season. I want to look at the coaches, and then we will look at the next recruiting class. Okay, let's go look at the coaches. So let's see if any got fired. This will be very interesting. So Alvarez stays, he's safe. Bobby Bowden is safe for now. He's been 15-11, 18-9 at Wisconsin. Mack is safe now. Pete Carroll, safe, 20-7. Jim Harbaugh, he's security low as an OC. Woody Hayes, he's lost 3 games in 2 years. He's fine. Lou Holtz just won the Natty. Don James, 24-4. He's doing great. Jimmy, safe, 14-11. Chip on the hot seat. He does have John Elway, though. I'm hoping Chip stays there, obviously. I want all our coaches to stay there at least for like 8-9 years so we can get a good gauge. He's on the hot seat. He does have John Elway, which will be a huge help. Urban Meyer, safe, 24-3 in 2 years. Robert Nealand on the hot seat. His security is low. Ed Orgeron, safe. Ed Orgeron got fired at LSU. Okay, so this is our second firing. He is now the OC at Ole Miss. Nebraska, Tom Osborne is low. I hope Tom Osborne doesn't get fired. 14-11. Penn State, he is safe now. He had a really good bounce back here in Joe Pa. Patterson, safe at TCU. Nick Saban, he is low right now. He needs to have a good year this year in the SEC. Bo Schembechler is safe at Michigan. Howard is safe at Louisville at 19-7. Kirby is safe at 21-5. Steve Spurrier, kind of a slow start at South Carolina, but he's safe. Dabo is safe, 22-5. Barry Switzer, 22-3. He is definitely safe. Kyle Whittingham is safe at Utah. So we've had 2 firings right now. It'll be really interesting to see how long it takes. Like, is Harbaugh or Orgeron, are they ever going to get head coaching opportunities again. How is that going to work? That is going to be really cool to see. So I'm going to make the next recruiting class, and then we'll get into the next season, year number 3. All right, then for just a short interruption of our NCAA sim, I want to make you guys aware of my website, Scheme Kings. It is my Madden and NBA 2K game plan website. It includes an exclusive video membership. You can dive into our extensive library where I offer hundreds of hours of content that gets updated weekly. You'll have access to comprehensive schemes. You unlock full offensive and defensive strategies intricately designed based on real NFL, NCAA, and NBA schemes tailored to elevate your game in a totally unique way based around how real teams play. Each scheme comes with hours of content to make sure this scheme gives you the best chance to win while playing off meta. They're also going to have in-depth breakdowns so you can understand the why and the how behind each play with detailed explanations and real gameplay demonstrations, all with real footage taken from in-game against real opponents so you know this stuff is actually gonna work. Then if you want a free preview of the videos that can be found on the site, you need to check out my King Reggie YouTube channel, where you can find the first part of the schemes for free before getting the rest on Scheme Kings. I'll leave a link for my King Reggie Madden YouTube channel down below if you want to check it out. Then starting today, now all future Campus Kings videos will be going up 3 to 4 days early on Scheme Kings. So if you enjoy these NCAA sims and want to support the channel, you can get the membership where you will get all the Madden videos, all the 2K content, plus get to watch the Campus Kings videos early. So you can use code CAMPUS at checkout and get 50% off your first month of the membership, and this will unlock everything on the site. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link for it down in the description below. All right, guys, so here we are, start of the 1982 season. This is going to be the 1983 recruiting class. Recruiting class is made. This is definitely not quite as good as the last 2 recruiting classes, just as kind of like big names. There's a few, but yeah, not quite what we've had for the first 2 recruiting classes, but that is all good. Now, if we get into QB, there's 2. There's Jim Everett, who played at Purdue. And then we got Mark Rippon, who played at Washington State. Now, Everett was like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Rippon played in the NFL, for a long time. So this is our 2 big time QBs for this recruiting class. Everett's looking at Alabama SC LSU. Rippon is looking at UW Oregon, Oregon State SC. So one kind of looking at the South, one looking at the West Coast. If we go down to running back, this is where we have the number 1 player in the class. It is Bo Jackson. Bo knows, maybe the best athlete in the history of football, history of sports, some people say. He's from Alabama. He's looking at Ohio State, USC, Georgia, Clemson, UNC, Cal. Then we go down, we got Keith Byers. He went to Ohio State in real life. He's from Dayton, Ohio. He's looking at Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. Looks like he might stay up in kind of that Big Ten kind of area. We got Neil Anderson, who played at Florida. He's looking at Florida State, the U Florida coach. So looking like he might stay, or maybe Georgia, Bama. He might stay in kind of Florida. And then our last one is going to be Ronnie Harmon, who played at Iowa in real life. He's looking at Michigan, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama. We have no fullbacks. We have no tight ends in this class. We do have wide receiver. We have 1 wide receiver only. It's Ernest Givens. Played at Louisville. He's from New York. He's looking at Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, Penn State, Texas. We only have 1 offensive tackle. It's Will Wolford. He played at Vanderbilt. He's looking at Notre Dame, A&M, and Florida as his top 3. If we go down to guards, we just have 1. It is Jim Dombrowski. He was like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He went to Virginia. He's looking at Bama, Notre Dame, Florida, Georgia. We go down to D end and we have Charles Haley, another NFL Hall of Famer. Or this is actually probably the first one in the class. He might be the only one in the class, actually, because Bo obviously didn't make the Hall of Fame, even though he was very talented. So Charles Haley played forever with the Niners and won multiple Super Bowls. Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and he went to James Madison in real life. Then we got Leslie O'Neal. He played at Oklahoma State. He's looking at ULM, CU, Appalachian State, Syracuse, UNLV. So definitely some smaller schools for him. We have Joe Hand, who played at Alabama. He was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Huge defensive end, 6'6", 290. He's looking at Alabama, a couple of smaller schools, Florida and Georgia. And then the last one is Clyde Simmons, who played at Western Carolina in real life. So a small school. He's a big boy, though. I think he was a pretty high pick as well. He's looking at Notre Dame, Bama, SC, Florida, Georgia. We look at defensive tackle. We got Tony Casillas. I'm pretty sure he was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft out of Oklahoma. He's from Tulsa. He's looking at Alabama, Georgia, SC, Clemson, South Carolina. Go down to outside linebackers. I don't think we have any. Then if we go middles, we got Seth Joyner, played a long time in the NFL. He went to UTEP. He's looking at Penn State, Pitt, BC. He's kind of looking at the Northeast. Then we got Pat Swilling is our other one. He went to Georgia Tech. He's from Georgia. He's looking at Alabama, Florida State, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, and Pitt. If we go corner, we got one. It's Tim Miker, not sure. He's from LA. He did go to a small school, Texas, Arlington, but he's looking at Cal, USC, UCLA, and Stanford. So definitely looks like he's going to stay on the West Coast. Then our last player is going to be a safety. It's going to be Vince Glenn. He played at Indiana. He's looking at Ole Miss, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina. So yeah, this class definitely not as much star power as our previous 2 classes, and some of our upcoming classes are going to have way more. But hey, you know, not every class is going to be the best class out there. Okay, start of this year, number 3. Let's look at our preseason polls. So UW comes in at number 1, but they did lose Warren Moon, so I don't really know about that. We got Georgia at A+, BYU, Ohio State, Penn State, A&M, Florida, Texas, Notre Dame, Clemson, Cal, Bama, Utah, Oklahoma, USC, A+. We have some really good teams right now. Yeah, so we'll just kind of go through some of those rosters here in a second. Look, Heisman watch. Drew Aller, who won it last year. Jim McMahon at BYU, 99 overall. Preseason All-Americans. Aller, Mike Munchak, Luke Weipler. Yeah, we're starting to get really close to all of kind of the current day players cycling out as well. This will be like this year, and there will be quite a bit, and then next year they'll almost all be gone. So Mark Clayton already coming in as a second team All-American as a sophomore for Ohio State. Keith Millard, I think he's a real life player, recruit to USC. Yeah, that's where we're kind of sitting here for All-Americans. Let's look at some of these rosters. So I'm going to try to go through this pretty quick. So Bama, they were in A+. Have they gotten many of our new recruits? Yeah, we're waiting like 1 or 2 more years, and all these like real life players are going to cycle out, are like current day. So that'll be nice. Clemson bringing in Dan Marino. Not bringing in, he's going to be a sophomore, but having him as a sophomore quarterback for them is going to be absolutely nasty this year. Georgia, I don't know if Georgia's got a ton of our real life guys right now, like our recruits. LSU hasn't. Miami, where they're kind of sitting. Michigan. Notre Dame loses Joe Montana coming off a national championship, so they're not really, they lost their best player. They do have this Joey Browner and Bruce Matthews, who are 2 really good players from our first recruiting class. They could be okay, but I don't think they're winning the Natty this year. Ohio State, they got the Art Schleichler guy, real life player from the 70s, going to be in his senior year. Like, obviously they're going to be very good this year. They might look like the best team on paper. Oklahoma, they have Jim Kelly playing kind of out of, like, he probably should have just not went to this school because they are a triple option team, but I mean, he's a good quarterback to have. We got Oregon with John Elway. But definitely be interesting to see how he performs. I think Penn State's going to be really good this year after making the national championship. Pitt, they got a good running back, good receiver, good tight end, and then they have Jeff Hostetler, who actually is better than Boomer Esiason. So Hostetler is going to start over Boomer this year, it looks like. Texas, A&M looks really good this year. UCLA, they lost their big safety. USC still has Marcus Allen this year, and he's ran for 1,300 and 1,400 yards over his last 2 seasons. So he's really going to be at kind of the middle of everything USC is doing this year. UW comes in as the #1 team in the country, but They lost their QB. They look pretty decent, but okay. So that is kind of it for our preseason look, guys. Once all these players filter out, we're going to go a lot more deeper dives into those teams. But we're going to sim to week 9 right now, and then we'll look at the top 25. We'll look at see how teams do, and we'll look at recruiting and kind of see what games we want to watch and all that good stuff. All right, so we are in week 9. Let's look at kind of how the recruiting is looking. So QB Jim Everett looking like Georgia is a lock. So that's a huge pickup for Georgia. Did they get a QB last year? I should at least write down the QBs. Jim Rippon, really just UW, Oregon, or Oregon State. That's going to be a big pickup for whoever gets him. Bo Jackson looking like 1,000% going to the Ohio State. What a pickup for them. Then we got Byers looking like probably Penn State. Neil Anderson looking like Florida, which I believe, or maybe Florida State, and that's where he went in real life. And then the last one is Ronnie Harmon, who's looking like Oklahoma, Michigan, Notre Dame. If we go to wide receivers, our one is Givens. He's looking like Notre Dame, possibly Penn State, maybe Alabama. Tackle Wolford is going to Notre Dame. Notre Dame seems to be doing really well in the recruiting circuit. Dombrowski looking Notre Dame. The end. Charles Haley, Notre Dame. Crazy. Leslie O'Neal looking like Appalachian State, UNLV, or Syracuse. Clyde Simmons looking like Florida or Georgia. And then Hand looking like UAB, Florida, Bama, or South Alabama. So lots of options there. Casillas looking like Alabama or South Carolina. Middles, we got Joyner, who's looking at UNC, Syracuse, maybe BC. Swilling looking like Bama, UAB, ECU, Louisville, Virginia. Still quite a few teams in the running there. Oh, we're missing one guy, actually. Oh, the other guy I was missing, I didn't go over him originally, was Pepper Johnson, who played in the NFL for a long time. He's also going to Notre Dame. Notre Dame is having a scary recruiting class right now. Our number one corner, this Tim Mikier guy, is going to UCLA. And then our last player, the strong safety, Venice Glenn, is looking at Ole Miss, Auburn, or Kentucky. I feel like Notre Dame is absolutely cleaning up right now. Alabama hasn't signed a player yet. Notre Dame has 9 players, 3 5-stars and 4 4-stars. So Notre Dame has a early just stranglehold on recruiting. Yeah, Notre Dame's looking scary right now. They could be building something crazy at South Bend. Let's go to top 25. Let's see where we're at. So OU, undefeated. Utah and Ohio State, only 3 undefeated teams. We got Bama at 1 loss. Georgia, okay, so there's a few more undefeateds. Gonna go through Notre Dame, Georgia. Kind of want to see Oklahoma. Undefeated. Who do they play? Kent State, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Who does Ohio State play? They play Penn State coming up here. UW, Penn State. Notre Dame. Oh, Notre Dame just lost to USC, who's only 3-4. So Carroll might be a little bit in trouble there. Georgia 2 losses. SC 3-4, 4-2. Florida State. Nebraska 5-2. Hoping that's enough to kind of save our boy Tom Osborne. I really don't want Osborne to be out of there already. I want to look at Heisman Watch. Singleton, McMahon, Drew Aller, Milroe. Season stats. McMahon is 2nd in the country in passing. Rushing, Eric Dickerson 5th at Nebraska. So total offense right now, BYU and Notre Dame basically 1 and 2 in yards. Points per game, Penn State, Baylor, Ohio State, Utah. So definitely some good offenses right now. If we go defensively, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Kansas State in yards. Points, it's Oklahoma. So Oklahoma looks pretty scary on defense. Jim Kelly in at quarterback. Barry Switzer's doing well there. Hopefully, I don't know how he's doing in recruiting, but we'll see. Okay, let's go to conference championship weekend. All right, so here we are, conference championship weekend. Season stats. None of our current day guys. Yeah, no. Receiving, tackles. We'll look at the stats a little more in depth here at the end of the year, but that's kind of just the leaders right now. We go team stats. Total offense. We got Penn State, Mississippi State, Georgia, Washington. Points are game, Penn State, Washington, Ohio State. If we go defensively, Penn State's killing it this year, but they're not even going to make it. They're like the #1 offense and defense. Ohio State is the #1 in points. Georgia, Northern Illinois, Cincinnati, Nebraska. Let's see. Yeah, so it's Ohio State, Utah. How much did they beat Iowa by? 28-6. Georgia finishing third. Or, right now they're in third. Washington drops down. BYU, Boston College, Bama, Oklahoma, Nebraska. I love Bama. Nick Saban's on the hot seat, and they're the 11th team in the country right now. That's funny. Let's go. National championship, 2 undefeateds. This is that Art Schleichler guy for Ohio State. This is going to be his last game. Okay, there's his top 3. Here's Ohio State's there. Utah Utes. I wouldn't have expected it, but here we are. Kyle Whittingham versus Woody Hayes. Woody's definitely going to want to win this one. To make 2 in 3 years, have 3 losses so far in 3 years, and not take home a national championship would be a tough pill to swallow for the Buckeyes. Okay, let's sim through the first quarter. Utah 7-0, 7-7. Let's go to half here. 14-7 Ohio State, 14-14, 21-14 Utah, and they have the ball right here. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, 21-14 Utah at half. 2nd and 12, big 3rd and 15 here. This is probably going to be not a super aggressive play call for Utah. We'll see though. Drops back. He has a lot of time. Actually, he's going to launch it deep. Launch it deep. Oh, that could have been picked off. Barnes underthrew him a little bit. There we go. And Ohio State is going to get the ball back. Let's see what they can do. 1st and 2nd and 7. Okay, we got a 3rd and 4 here for Ohio State. Art in at QB. They're going I form. They play a bit more pro style. Oh my God. And the QB fell and then threw it backwards, and they get the first. Oh, it is 4th and inches. Wow. I mean, I'm probably going for that, but they are going to punt it. Wow. 3rd and 3, first. Okay, 3rd and 20 here. Ohio State's defense is starting to play a little bit better here. 3 down. Drops back. Fires over the middle. Oh my gosh. He almost picked that up. They pick up 19 yards on 3rd and 20. Money Parks. 1,208 yards this year. So he's their big time weapon. Gonna punt it. 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 3rd and inches, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 1st and goal, 2nd and goal. Here it is, Ohio State from the half-yard line trying to tie this bad boy up. I form double tight to the top of the screen. Gonna hand it off, get downhill. Oh, the Utah, looks like safety came in, absolutely filled in the run there and blew that play up. 3rd and goal right here. Now all of a sudden this is massive. They can hold them to 3. Their running back for Ohio State looks pretty tired as well, but he pushes his way in, and that is going to be a 21-all game. Okay, we're going to go through the 3rd quarter. Ohio State gets a stop, and now they're out on offense just past midfield on 3rd and 9 here. Going to be in a little bit of a pistol look. Okay, Art drops back. They have a screen pass. Oh my gosh, there was a D lineman there. He probably could have picked it. Instead, that play goes for about 25-30 yards. Crazy. Most passing yards in a career, Art Schleichler. Okay, let's keep going here. Minus. Okay, we got a 3rd and 10. Art, 206, 1 TD, 1 pick. Trying to take home a national championship for the Buckeyes. Drops back, screen pass again with the D lineman there. He's able to make the play this time though. Okay, field goal, and they miss it. 10 yards, 2nd and 15, 3rd and 15 again already though. So they're getting behind the sticks against this Ohio State Buckeyes defense, and that is not where you want to be. Okay, drops back, time, throwing a nice out route again, but they are going to be forced to punt this ball off with 5:42 left. Okay, 9 yards, throwaway. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 5. They pick it up 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 1st and 10, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 9. Just past midfield, 4:14 left. What does Art have? Does he have something in his big right arm? Drops back. Screen again. Not going to be anything there though. Mayan Williams goes down. They are getting really screen heavy on those plays. 7 yards, 9-1, 3rd and 1, 1st and 10. Okay, so Utah was driving, but now all of a sudden it's 3rd and 4. 2 minutes left. 2 first downs here. You're probably in field goal range. Barnes drops back, fires a little hitch route. Oh my God, the receiver got absolutely leveled, but they complete it. 2 minutes left, and Utah, oh, they get a sack. Oh my gosh, now all of a sudden it's 3rd and 18 with 150 left. They are definitely not in field goal range. They need 16 yards probably to kick a field goal. They're going to run draw and lose 2 yards. Wow. Huge stop by Ohio State. 1st and 10, oh, Ohio State's driving. Oh my God, they just hit a 34-yard play down to the 1-inch line. There is 20 seconds left in the national championship game on the line. 3, 2, they're going to do a stretch run. They get stopped. Timeout Buckeyes. They got 1 timeout left. They do not need to get super aggressive here. You can just kick your field goal. Looks like they're going to still try to score here. 11 seconds for Ohio State. They're lucky they do have a timeout. They're going to run to Art Schleichler in his last college game scores a go-ahead touchdown with 8 seconds left, and that does it. Ohio State wins it. Crazy. So Woody Hayes is like 35-3 in our first 3 years of the sim. Ohio State has been the best team. They've got 2 national title appearances and a national championship, win. So yeah, you gotta say they're number 1 right now. And they're bringing in Bo Jackson, who is the number 1 player in the class from last year, from like this upcoming draft class. So just kind of want to look at that Art guy. Oh yeah, they have Mark Clayton as well, 294 and a touchdown. Clayton didn't really do much today though. 92 yards. There we go. Okay, let's look at kind of all this final stuff here. So final top 25 of the year: Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, BYU, Rice, Penn State, Bama, Oklahoma. That's the rest. Heisman, Camden Sermon wins it. All-Americans, here we go. That's kind of our list there for first team, second team, and then here is freshman. Marcus Dupree. I forgot Marcus Dupree went to Notre Dame. 1,100 yards as a true freshman. That's big. Jerry Rice at Florida, 858 yards. Very good first year. Lomas Brown made it. Jack Del Rio at middle linebacker for Texas. Okay, so that's where we're kind of sitting there for All-Americans. So season stats, here's all the leaders this year in all the different stats. Receiving, tackles, sacks, INTs. You can look at team stats as well. So total yards: UW, Boise State, Georgia, Utah. Points: Penn State, Washington, Mississippi State, Baylor, Ohio State. Defensively: Ohio State, Cincinnati, Georgia, Oklahoma, Nebraska. And then here's total points, or total yards as well. So that is where we are sitting after 3 years. So we'll have to see who gets fired and stuff as well. We're just going to sim to National Signing Day, see where all these guys ended up, see who had the best recruiting class. Okay, National Signing Day. Everett, Georgia. Rippon ends up at Oregon over Washington by 9 points. So he's going to back up Elway for a year or two and then start. Bo at Ohio State. Byers at Penn State. Anderson, and then Harmon goes to Georgia. Givens goes to Bama. Wolford, we knew Notre Dame. We know Dombrowski, Notre Dame. We know Haley, Notre Dame. O'Neal goes to UNLV. Clyde Simmons goes to Florida. Pepper Johnson, Notre Dame. And then John Hand, Bama. Casillas goes to Bama. Joyner goes to BC. Swilling goes to Bama. And then we knew Mickner goes to UCLA. And the safety goes to Ole Miss. So that is the final recruiting. Let's go look at the top classes. A&M finishes with the number 1 class: Bama, Penn State, Florida, Notre Dame. So Notre Dame started out hot. They just didn't have quite as much depth. They got a ton of star power. Ohio State, USC, Oklahoma, Miami, UCLA. So there we are with recruiting. We are just going to stim to the next season now. And then we're going to look at the coaches, see who got fired. And then we will see, then I'll make the next recruiting class and we'll get into the next season, 1983. Okay, let's look at some coach info and see if anyone got fired. So Alvarez, low security, but he is there, 25-15 in 3 years. Bobby Bowden, 23-16, safe for now. Mac Brown, low, he's just over 500. Pete Carroll, safe for now. He's got a decent record at SC. Jim Harbaugh, pretty bad fall from grace so far. Woody Hayes, absolutely killing it. 38-3 in his 3 years there. Lou Holtz not far behind, also national championship at Notre Dame. Don James playing, performing really good at Washington. Jimmy Johnson doing pretty good at Miami. Chip, he's 500. He needs to pick it up. He's got John Elway this year in his junior season. He just got another 5-star QB. Chip needs to pick it up. Urban's been really good at Florida. Nealon's been about 500 at Tennessee, but he's safe. Ed Orgeron, back down to OC. Tom Osborne safe for now. He's got to pick it up. Joe Pa, he's safe. He's made a national championship. He's been really good the last 2 years. Gary Patterson, his seat is hot. Super hot fire for Gary at TCU. Saban safe for now, 26-13. Bo Schembechler, hot seat at Michigan. It's getting hot for our boy, and he needs to pick it up. Howard Schnellenberger, he is safe at Louisville. It's actually a really good record for Louisville. Georgia, Kirby Smart is safe. Steve Spurrier safe for now. And then Dabo is on the hot seat, even though he's 26-13, but he is on the hot seat. Barry Switzer has been really good at Oklahoma, won a national championship, 33-6. He is safe. And then Kyle Whittingham just comes off a great season at Utah, and he is safe. So that is going to be it for season number 3, guys. 1982. I'm going to make the recruiting class, and we'll get into the next one. All right, so the next recruiting class is made. So this is going to be the start of season 4. It is going to be the 1983 season. The Ohio State obviously just won. This class is definitely better than the last one. Still, we have some much better classes on the way, but definitely some, really good, interesting players going to go through. So we got 3 QBs. There's Jim Harbaugh, who's obviously a Michigan man, Michigan coach, but in our sim, he just got fired after year 1. Or no, sorry, he was at Stanford, but he got fired in year 1, but we got him as a coach also. So he's from Toledo, Ohio. He's looking at Bama, Notre Dame, Georgia, Florida, LSU. We got Rich Gannon, who made a Super Bowl in the NFL playing for the Raiders. He played at Delaware. He's from Philadelphia. He's leaning Alabama, Ohio State, SC, Notre Dame, Penn State. And then the last one is Vinny Testaverde, who played at the University of Miami, and he was actually the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He's looking at Alabama, Notre Dame, Florida, Florida State, and Washington. If we go to running back, we got 3. We got Alonzo Highsmith, who played for the U also. He was like the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Wasn't great in the NFL, but was really good in college. He's looking at Alabama, SC, OU, Texas, Notre Dame, Ohio State. We got Christian the Nightmare Okoye. Now, he played at a small Div 2 school in California. He's actually from Africa. So I just put him from California because obviously you can't put people from Africa. It doesn't let you. And that's where he went to school. So he's looking like he's going to stay on the West Coast. And then the last one is Brent Fullwood. Right here, 4-star running back. He went to Auburn, but he's from Florida. He's looking at Florida, the U, Florida State, or Georgia. We go down to wide receivers, and we got 3. We got Mark Ingram Sr. So this is Mark Ingram, running back for the Saints, won the Heisman at Alabama. This is his dad. He played at Michigan State, and he was like a 1st-round pick in the NFL draft, and he's leaning Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Bama right now. We got Hayward Jeffers. He played at North Carolina State, played in the NFL. He's leaning Georgia, Bama, Notre Dame, Florida A&M. And then we got Mark Carrier right here. He played at Nicholls State. He's from Cali, looking like SC, UCLA. Gonna stay on the West Coast for him. Torres, California. Okay, moving on to offensive line. We have 1 tackle. It is Harris Barton. So here he is. Harris Barton is our 1 offensive tackle. He played in the NFL for a long time. He's North Carolina, Georgia, Notre Dame, A&M, Florida, and Bama. For guards, we have Kevin Gogan. He played at Washington, big offensive lineman, 6'6", plays on the interior. He's looking like he might stay on the West Coast and maybe Oklahoma or Nebraska also. Then we also have 1 center, which is Frank Winters. He's looking at Pitt, Va-Tech, Syracuse, and Maryland. We have no defensive ends, I don't think, but we do have a D tackle, and it is Jerome Brown. Now, he was part of the legendary Philadelphia Eagles defense. He played with Reggie White. He was a top 10 pick out of the U absolute legend. He died like when he was pretty young, but like really insanely good in college, really good in the NFL as well. He played at the U, but he's leading Alabama, Florida, Notre Dame, A&M, Georgia, and Bama. If we go to outside linebackers, we got one Greg Lloyd, who played forever for the Steelers, was a like all-pro in the NFL at outside linebacker. He went to Fort Valley State, so a small school, but he's from Miami, Florida. He's looking at Ohio State, Bama, Texas, OU right now. We do have a few other linebackers here as well. We got Hardy Nickerson, who played in the NFL for a long time. He's from Cali, LSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Shane Conlon, who played at Penn State, big middle linebacker, played for the Bills in the NFL. He's Penn State, Bama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia. We go to corners, and we have two nice corners. We have this Tyrone Baxter, who played at North Dakota State, so small school, but he's obviously a 5-star here. He's looking at Florida State, LSU, SC, Georgia. Then we have the legend Rod Woodson, NFL Hall of Famer, played at Purdue. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he was amazing. One of the best defensive backs of all time. He's leading Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana, Bama right now. And then we have one safety. It is Tim McDonald from Fresno, California. He played at USC in real life. He's leading Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. So that is our recruiting class. I think it's a pretty solid one. Definitely some really good players who played a long time in the NFL and stuff. Some good QBs. So we'll kind of see where everyone goes. We'll get into the season now. Okay, so we're going to look at the preseason polls, Heisman Watch, kind of all our stuff here. So right now, Georgia, Ohio State, Bama, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame, all A+ across the board. UW looks like they're going to be pretty good. Utah looks good. Penn State looks really good. Miami looks really good. Florida looks good. A&M looks good. Baylor looks pretty good. Wow, yeah, we got some good teams. USC looks pretty solid. Florida State looks okay. Tennessee, we'll have to look at them. Oregon, A+. Yeah, and they have John Elway. Definitely be looking at them. Okay, let's look at preseason Heisman Watch. This guy, the UW running back, won it last year. Evan Pryor. John Elway for Oregon in 4th. I think they still have Chip, so hopefully he has a big year playing for the Ducks. John Elway, first-team All-American right now. Bruce Matthews on the interior for Notre Dame. This is the rest of the list as we go down. If we go second team, Jack Del Rio. That is kind of where we're sitting. I want to look at championship contenders here for the next few years. So if we go for right now, George, this is just kind of the top 10 right now, but I like to look at oh my goodness. So this loves Notre Dame over the next few years. Ohio State 2-11-4, Texas A&M really good too. LSU meh, Florida okay. UCLA for the next 2 years looks really good. Oklahoma, Bama looks like they're going to be really good. Texas okay. Clemson, North Carolina, Georgia. Yeah, it's kind of where we're sitting. USC and Penn State kind of having some down years here, it looks like, coming up. Obviously that can change too, depending how much better players get and how much worse players get. So here's Bama right now. Emmanuel Henderson, Richard Dent on the D line. That's obviously big for them. That's kind of what they're. John Hand, who they're just bringing in, the freshman. They actually have a couple of good QBs for the next few years as well. So Bama definitely looks like they could be pretty tough this year. Clemson, they got Dan Marino. We're forgetting about Dan. 2,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 14 picks. I mean, that's a really nice QB. They're going to have at least for the next 2 years. So we'll see. Or max the next 2 years, actually. Florida, I think they've actually been recruiting okay, but they just look all right now. Georgia has not actually been recruiting all that well. They're averaging the 25th class since we started. So they did get Frank Reich. That's actually a big QB get. So they have this Gunnar Stockton right now, and then they're going to have Jim Everett and Frank Reich the next 4 years. So that's actually huge. If we go down, LSU. They fired our boy Ed Orgeron. Miami, AJ Allen. They have some players, but They look all right. Michigan, yeah, I don't know. Oh, they did get Randall Cunningham. I forgot about Randall. Did he start last year? He did play a bit last year. Did he run the ball 480 yards? So like Randall alone could really buoy Michigan. I want to look at Notre Dame because like they have them projected as the best team, that kind of championship contender. They have Bruce Matthews and Joey Browner, running back. Marcus Dupree, only a sophomore, and he ran for 1,100 yards last year. Another good running back. Have they been getting a QB? They got this Ncaa is only a junior. Oh, this guy's really good. Whew. Yeah, they look absolutely set up to be really good for the next few years. JD Jackson, a sophomore. My goodness. Yeah, this team is... Price isn't even going to start for them this year. Or Dupree, sorry. Wow, this team looks nasty. Browner, oh my goodness. Yeah, Lou Holtz is building something in Notre Dame. I think Ohio State's going to be really good for the next few years too. They got Mark Clayton. Kyle McCord is still starting for them. Did they get... They haven't got any of the recruits, but yeah, I think Ohio State's going to be really good too. They've probably been the best. Now we are going to sim to about the week 9 of the season, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, so we're in week 9. Let's look at recruiting and see where these big boys are going. So QB, Harbaugh's looking either Notre Dame or some small schools. So be interesting if he went to Notre Dame. Rich Gannon ends up at Penn State. That is a huge pickup for Penn State. Vinny Testaverde looking like Bama. No one's even recruiting him right now. Bama, Notre Dame, Florida. He might be the best quarterback of the group. If we look at Alonzo Highsmith, he's looking at Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Texas, Bowling Green. Interesting. Christian Okoye, UCLA, Oklahoma, Cal. USC's out of it. Then Brent Fullwood. He is going to the U, Georgia, or Florida State. Probably maybe Florida is on the outside looking in as well. Wide receivers, Mark Ingram Sr. looking like he's going to go to Washington 100%. Haywood Jeffers looking like he's going to go to A&M. And then Mark Carrier looking like USC or Washington. So Washington could get him and Mark Ingram Sr., but they need a freaking quarterback. If we go to tackles, we got Harris Barton. He's going to go to Texas A&M. Guard, we got Keith Gogans. Kevin Gogan is going to go Oklahoma, USC, maybe UW, Cal, maybe Nebraska. Frank Winters is looking like Pitt, Syracuse, or Boston College. Go to D tackles. Jerome Brown is looking like Florida, Bama, or Georgia. Whoever gets him, that is going to be massive for their interior. Oklahoma gets Greg Lloyd, one of the best defenders in the recruiting class. That is a huge pickup for them. If we go to the middle, Hardy Nickerson looking like Arkansas, Boise, Utah State, Oregon State. And then Shane Conlon, he's looking like Notre Dame, Penn State, Alabama, Ohio State. Go to corners, Tyrone Baxter looking like Florida State, LSU, SC, or Rod Woodson looking like Alabama or Notre Dame with maybe Indiana. Whoever gets him, that is a massive get. Then our last one, not John Walter, it is Tim McDonald. He's going to go to South Carolina. It's a big pickup for them. Okay, let's kind of look just quickly at who is looking like the best recruiting class right now. So we got A&M, Toledo. Wow, but they've got a lot. Yeah, they've just signed a lot of players. UW, Auburn, Oklahoma, Miami. It's very early on the recruiting. So I think we'll obviously see a lot of movement on those lists. Okay, let's look at the top 25 and see how these boys are doing. So UW is just keeping it going, man. They are not stopping. 7-0. Utah 7-0. A&M, Ohio State, South Carolina, Cal. So the Pac-12 is doing really good. OU, Notre Dame, Texas Tech with our guy Mike Leach, Baylor, Penn State, Oklahoma, Miami, Oregon, Alabama, 3 losses, Clemson 5-1, Georgia 3 losses, Miami 3 losses. Some of our coaches might be on the hot seat for sure. Heisman watch, Ncaa at Notre Dame leading the way. So we have the season stats right now. So that's the top 5 passers, top 5 rushers, top 5 receiving, tackle leaders, sack leaders, and interception leaders. Total offense, Notre Dame, South Carolina, Washington, Georgia right now. Points per game. Washington scoring 46 points per game. Tulane, Notre Dame. If we look defensively, USF has the number one. Louisville, Oklahoma for the ranked teams look like the best. ULM, freaking 79 points in 5 games. Duke, Cal, Oklahoma, Texas, Boise State, Ohio State. So that's kind of where we're looking for those stats. Okay, now I want to look through and see a good game we could watch. None of the regular season games really jumping out to me, so I think we're going to sim to conference championship weekend again, and then we'll check out some of those games, and then we'll watch the Natty, obviously. All right, so we're in conference championship weekend. Okay, let's look at the top 25. A&M 12-0, Utah 12-0, Ohio State, Boise State trying to wreck some people's seasons, trying to make the Natty here. Notre Dame ends up losing. They're 11-1. Oh, they lost their first game of the year to Texas. Ohio State, A&M, South Carolina. That is 2 ranked teams, 2 like top 5 teams. The winner might make it. Oklahoma, Louisville, Kentucky. There's Texas, Clemson, Washington 10-2. Man, I don't see Alabama or Georgia. That's crazy. Where's Ohio State? Am I missing them, or are they not even ranked? Oh, no. Oh, they're okay. Never mind. Ohio State's still undefeated. Ohio State still has lost freaking 3 games in 3 years, or in 4 years almost now. Okay, let's see. So we watched Utah, Washington last year. We don't really have a ton of guys we know on this game, but we'll watch some of A&M versus South Carolina. So that's where the teams sit. A&M 6th on offense, 24th on defense. South Carolina 4th on offense, 41st on defense. So definitely some offensive teams. We got Mark Duper. Oh, and that's Carl Banks at outside linebacker. So A&M's got a few of our guys. Not sure about anybody on South Carolina, and it looks like their starting QB is out. Oh my God, it might be the starting QB for both teams. So this might be an interesting game. So we're going to sim through the first quarter here. South Carolina 7-0. South Carolina 14-0. A&M is driving here. They got it on the 2-yard line here. End of the first. What is are you going to tell us how much time or what the down and distance? They're going to hand it off. Oh my God, the running back trucked him, got into the end zone, and Texas A&M scores. If A&M wins this, they're basically guaranteed a berth in the national championship. So let's go to halftime here. 14-7, 14 all, 21-14, 21 all, 28-21. A&M scores a late score there, and they have the lead. 10-yard rush. 3rd and 1, 2nd and 13. Oh, I actually want to watch that. Okay, we got 3rd and 11 here for A&M. So they're trying to take a 2-score lead here over the Gamecocks. National title berth on the line, trying to win an SEC championship. Directing traffic, drops back, fires it into the flats. Okay, oh my gosh, he falls forward for the first down. That is a big play for A&M. Okay, we'll keep rocking here. Incomplete. 8-yard. Okay, we got 3rd and goal from about the half-yard line. Can A&M punch this bad boy in? QB under center. Hand it off, and he is gonna walk into the end zone, and A&M has a 34-20 or about to be 35-21 lead. Let's see, South Carolina driving 2nd and 6, 3rd and inches, and they score a 29-yard touchdown. A&M trying to drive now, 2nd and 14. We got 3rd and 18. Probably not going to be super aggressive here for Texas A&M. Kind of a split back look here. Shotgun, gonna motion the guy across the formation. Okay, little fake draw. Fires it. Ooh, that's a huge hit there by the linebacker over the middle for South Carolina. I like it. Now, South Carolina has a shot here. 1st and 10. Oh, they fumble. A&M right here. 3rd and goal from the 1. Once again, A&M has a chance to go up 14 points right before the 4th quarter here. They're going to hand it off, and the running back gets in again. So A&M now going to be up 14 one more time. Okay, what's South Carolina got? 3rd and 10. Here's a big 3rd down here. South Carolina is 7 of 10 on 3rd down. They need a conversion here. If they win this, they do have a shot at the Natty for sure. They'll be one loss, beat the number 1 team in the country. Gonna do a little check down underneath there, though. That is not gonna get it done. And A&M is looking like they're in a great spot right here, and they can put it away if they score on this drive. 3rd and 10 right here. South Carolina needs a pick. They need something right here. 6:11 left. They can't even let them get a field goal. Then it's going to be a 3-score game. Quarterback drops back, sliding. Oh, that is a horrible sack to take. That is going to knock you out of field position. Other than a interception, that was about as good as you could hope for the Gamecocks. 2nd and 3, 3rd and 5, 1st and 10, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 5. They pick it up and they got 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line with 4:06 left. South Carolina is not going away. They're in shotgun here. Drop back. He has lots of time, but they are getting pressure. Finds a man in the back of the end zone. Nick Harbor, and it is a 1-score game. New school reception, our record for receptions in a career. They are now down 7 with 4 minutes left. Mark Duper dropped 3rd and 2, -3, and they're going to punt it back to South Carolina, who's got a chance to go tie it here. We got 3rd and 2 in their own end. There's 2:11 left in this one. They are down 7 for the Gamecocks. This is go time for them. Okay, drops back, QB draw. What a horrible play call. My goodness, I hated that. I hated every second of that. Carl Banks with the tackle defensively, 11 yards. That probably is going to do this. Yeah, okay. And A&M is going to put this one away. That is it. Texas A&M. That was their running back. 247 plus. We had almost 300 yards today. A&M wins it. So they're pretty much going to be in the national championship. We don't have any coach on their team, so this will be the first year that we won't have 2 of our coaches in it. We'll hopefully have 1 at least. Look at the game stats really quick. So Marcel Reed for A&M played pretty well. Owens was incredible. Did our guy Duper do anything? He only had 2 catches for 23 yards. Defensively, Carl Banks was really good for them. 10 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack today for Carl Banks. I don't think we have anybody like real on South Carolina. Their receiver played incredible. 221 and 2 scores. Didn't really run the ball. And I don't even know if this was their starting QB, and he passed for 409 and 3 scores. So yeah, you can't blame him. Good game, but A&M is going to stay undefeated. We still have 4. There's Boise State, Ohio State, A&M, and 1 more team. So it'll be very interesting to see who they put in the national championship. Let's just advance week and we will see. All right, so there's the Heisman: Minchie, Owens, Jones, Sawchuk, Johnson. Oh, it's Notre Dame versus A&M. So, oh my goodness, Ohio State lost. They lost to Iowa, or them. It would have been them versus, and then Utah was the other undefeated team, and they got killed by Washington. So there it is. Boise State must have lost too, because there was 4. Yeah, Boise State lost to Nevada. So that opened the door for Notre Dame to sneak in at 11-1 versus 13-0 Texas A&M. Wow. Okay. Here we go. That's a big game. Notre Dame trying to win their 2nd national championship. Them and Ohio State have each made it twice now. Notre Dame is ready to go. I'm kind of rooting for them just because, you know, I'm going to be rooting. Not that my rooting matters, but I want our coaches to do good. I want to see how good one of these coaches can be over 40 years. Like, does Lou Holtz at Notre Dame have a chance to win like 8 national championships? He might have 2 already through 4 years. Could he win 8, 9 national championships in 40 if he stays at Notre Dame that whole time? Who knows? So I'm excited. Let's get into it. So there's their stats. Notre Dame definitely is better statistically. Players: Hicks, Duper, Carl Banks, Bruce Matthews, Minchie at QB, who's been almost 50 touchdowns this year. Browner at defensive back. Basically no injuries for either team as well. So we got ourselves a game here, boys. Let's get it. Let's go. Notre Dame versus A&M. Okay, we're gonna sim through the first quarter here. A&M drives down, goes up 7-0. Notre Dame gets stopped. A&M 14-0 here. 2nd and 4, 1st and 10, 2nd and 9, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 3, 3rd and 3. They pick it up 1st and goal from the 9. Okay, let's watch 2nd and goal from the 4 here. Very close in total yards, but A&M's finished. Notre Dame hasn't so far, so they need this score right here. Gonna motion their tight end across. They're gonna hand it off to their running back. He's gonna be about a yard and a half short. Jabron Payne. They're going to go hurry up here. 3rd and goal from the 2. This is a must convert here for Notre Dame. They have to punch us in. You do not want 14-3. Hand it off the running back. Oh my goodness. He had a huge hole up the middle. He tried to bounce that for some reason. Luckily for Notre Dame, he does get in. Okay, let's see. Duper for 12. 4th and 1. They're going to punt. Throw away. 3rd and 2. PAT. They just threw a pick. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Somehow A&M got the ball back and they just scored. So 21-7 A&M. 4th and inches, and they punt it away. Incomplete, thrown away. 3rd and 10. Okay. Marcus Dupree, 12-yard return. Facing. Okay. Notre Dame's got the ball. 3rd and inches. They convert. 5-yard. 9 yards. Marcus Dupree. Payne touchdown. 21-14. A&M. They get the ball right here. Duper for 16. 2nd and 13. 3rd and 1. 1st and 10. 2nd and 8. Then they score. I'm going to hop in on some 3rd downs, but they keep scoring on 2nd down. It is 28-14 at the half for Texas A&M. Notre Dame gets the ball here, and they have a huge 3rd and 12 here. You do not want to give A&M the ball back here. They could go down and score, and you're down 21 in the 3rd quarter. So obviously don't want that to happen. Mincy drops back. They're getting pressured. He does a fade away. Falling away. That is dangerous. Falling away, fade away to the opposite side of the field. That is not recommended. 2nd and 6, 3rd and 7. Here's a huge 3rd and 7 for A&M. Now Notre Dame can get off the field right here and be all right. If A&M converts this, like Notre Dame, you got to do something. Over the middle. Ooh, that's a great tackle there. 57 comes across the field, makes that tackle, and he's going to force a punt here. 28-14. Ncaa, throwaway, 3rd and 3, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. This A&M defense is really giving this Notre Dame offense some trouble. Ncaa in shotgun here, drops back, pressure. He's going to go over the middle. That almost was picked off. Ncaa has 2 picks on the day. Incomplete there, and he is kind of, not playing up to snuff in this national championship game. 3rd and 1, they convert. 2nd and 7, 3rd and 1, they convert again. 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 7. If Notre Dame wants any shot, you cannot go down 21 points right now. It's now or never for Notre Dame. Play action has a guy wide open. He's down at about the 6-yard line. A&M is trying to put a stranglehold on this game and get their first national championship of the sim. They score and they are up 35-14. Notre Dame and Lou Holtz need a miracle now. They have about 8-minute quarters for the sims, and yeah, they have about 10 minutes to get 21 points. Oh, not looking good for them, but you never know. Intercepted. That is going to do it. Wow. A&M blows them out. Unless, okay, so Notre Dame goes down and scores. Yeah, no, it's over. Oh my God, now Notre Dame scores, but A&M scores. Yeah, A&M wins it all. Crazy. Wow, A&M wins it. Notre Dame had a chance to win their 2nd natty, and they don't finish the job. Ncaa, their quarterback, really did not play good in this game. He had at least 3 picks. Reed played really well. 333, 5 touchdowns. Their running back was pretty good. Duper had 12 yards rushing. Platt, Duper both had nice days receiving. Duper had 2 touchdowns. If we look at Notre Dame, here's kind of their defensive stats. Receiving, oh yeah, they got Mark Bavaro too at tight end. Rushing, Dupree, 3 for 18. He's going to be their lead back next year. It'll be interesting. But yeah, Ncaa really let them down. I think he won the Heisman this year. He was one of the reasons they made the game, but he did not perform when it mattered most in this one. So that is season number 4 down, guys. We have about 38, 39 left over the course of the next 5 videos after this one. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, guys, and you're liking it, definitely leave a like on the video, sub to the channel. I don't want you guys to miss any of these upcoming vids. You know, this is going to be absolutely crazy. So make sure you guys sub if you want to keep watching after this video. Okay, look at the final top 25. A&M, Notre Dame, Toledo, Utah. Utah's been great. Ohio State ends up losing their last 2 games. Not ideal for them. Louisville, Clemson, Kentucky, Washington, Texas, Miami. I think we could see Nick Saban and Kirby Smart both be getting axed this season, which would be insane. Here's the Heisman watch. Kenny Ncaa wins it. That's the rest of the list. All-Americans. Ncaa. Here we just kind of scroll down. Carl Banks, where we're at for first. Second team, Bruce Matthews. That's O'Browner for Notre Dame as well. We go freshman, Harmon at quarterback. Byers going. Leslie O'Neal's one of our guys. Okay, so that's kind of where we're sitting with the All-American teams. So we'll look at the league leaders. Ncaa gets second in the country in passing. Sawchuk, Faison, and that's where we are for sacks, and then INTs. Okay, I want to look at some season stats. So I want to go just all teams, actually. So I want to kind of get a look at some of how our big time players have been performing here. So I'm going to go by positions. Like, how has John Elway been? This is what he's looked like over his 3 years, and it's been, last year he was good, this year he was okay. They're not really throwing the ball a ton, but that is what he's kind of looking like. He also ran for 621. But yeah, then we got Dan Marino this year, 3,100 yards, 15 INTs is just too much. He's not really a running threat. Jim Kelly, 22, 23. Like, he just went to a weird offense for him. So, like, he was just never going to put up huge stats in that scheme. But, yeah, those are going to be our big-time quarterbacks right now. Arch Manning. We got to keep an eye on this Ncaa. He has a chance. If he wins the Heisman or wins a Natty next year, he has a chance to go down as the player of the decade. You guys got to help me in the comments. Let me know who you guys think I should, like, put up for that player of the decade once we get to that point. Boomer's not really playing for West Virginia. If we go to running backs, Judkins, Eric Dickerson, he's got it. Oh, he did not have a great year this year. He got injured. He was averaging 156 a game, but he got injured. We'll have to see what his last year is like. Well, there's Herschel Walker. How's he been over his... Ooh, Herschel's been really good. He's at UCF, small school, but we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on Herschel Walker. Marcus Dupree, Bo Jackson also coming along. Kingston, Mark Clayton, how's he been? He had a really good freshman year. Hasn't been great after that. Duper, decent year. Irving Fryer at UCLA, decent. Jerry Rice, how's he been through his first 2? Okay. Haven't given the ball a ton. That's kind of our receivers. Do we have any ends that are super high right now? Right end, Leonard Marshall at USC. He had 9.5 sacks this year. Wow. So Marshall's been really good to start. Dent, 3.5 sacks. We go to interior D-line. Millard at USC. It's his stats. Bill Moss at Ohio State. Didn't do much this year. William the Fridge Perry, that's his stats so far. Go middles. Do we have any? Probably the only really big time middle we'll have right now. Wilbur Marshall, only a sophomore. He's already a 93. That's really high. Carl Banks at A&M has been good. Putting up some good stats. Right outside, do we have any? Probably not really right now. Corners. Darrell Green, already a 97 at Oklahoma. He's got 8 picks in his first 3 years. That's obviously really nice. Joey Browner, other big time corner. He's got 8 picks as well. He had 5 this year. Those are kind of the 2 big corners we've had so far. Yeah, so that's where we're looking at the stats. I want to go through that at least, once every 2-3 years, where we kind of go through the positions so we can kind of see how everyone's doing. Okay, one thing before we get to the offseason, I want to look at coaches and just see who's on the hot seat, who might get fired. So Barry Alvarez looks all right. Bobby Bowden might be gone. Mac Brown looks good. Carroll looks like he won't get fired, but he needs to pick it up. Harbaugh, it'd be interesting to see if he gets a head coaching opportunity. Woody Hayes, 50-5, has been incredible. Lou Holtz has been really good, and he's killing it recruiting. Don James has been really good. Jimmy's safe. Chip Kelly safe for now. Urban safe for now. 40-13, he's safe for now, man. Nealand, Ed Orgeron, we'll see if he ever gets another job. Tom Osborne, I really don't want Tom Osborne to get fired. Joe Pa's fine. Gary Patterson, hot seat at 500. Nick Saban, low. So he's not on the hot seat, so he might be back. 33-19. Bo Schembechler, kind of the same position as Bama and Saban. Howard Schnellenberger, he's been really good at Louisville, honestly. Okay, 41-12. I thought Kirby was, maybe he just didn't have as good of a year this year. Spurrier safe, Dabo safe. Switzer's been really good, so he's safe. Oh, Kyle Whittingham's been really good at Utah as well. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. Here's their recruiting skill level. This is going to be really interesting to track too, to kind of see who the best recruiter is. Chip's doing really good, 18, 17 for Lou Holtz, because this is just going to affect how easy it is for you to get recruits in there. So we'll check the coaching again after the offseason just to see if anybody did get fired. Okay, National Signing Day. Let's take a look where all the boys ended up. So we knew Harbaugh, we know Gannon, and we don't know Testaverde. Testaverde ends up at Georgia. They just got a QB last year. Who'd they get? I can't remember, but yeah, so they're in a good spot. Alonzo Highsmith ends up at Notre Dame. He's going to back up our boy Marcus Dupree for a few years. We knew Okoye, and then the other one was Fullwood, who ends up at Florida, which we knew. Ingram, we knew. Jeffers, we basically knew, and Carrier's going to USC. Yep. Tight end, we didn't have any. Tackles, Barton, A&M. Guards, Gogan, Washington. That's a nice pickup for them. Winters, Syracuse. Defensive ends, we had none in this class. The tackles, Jerome Brown, Florida, big pickup. Greg Lloyd, OU, which we knew. Nickerson and Conlon, Notre Dame and Arkansas. Corners, Baxter, Florida State. Rod Woodson at Notre Dame. And McDonald went to South Carolina. So that was our custom recruits. Let's see what the top 25 recruiting classes are, the best recruiting classes were. A&M gets number 1. They only have 1 5-star with Jeffers, but they just had a lot of good players. Notre Dame, once again, they are just killing it recruiting. One of the best teams every single year. Lou Holtz just is not missing right now. Woodson, Harbaugh, Highsmith. You know, that's a great core to build around. This is kind of how we go down. Who else who had a lot of 5-stars? So yeah, it was Notre Dame. Just, yeah, they're kind of lapping the field right now. They're kind of just playing with everybody with how well they're recruiting compared to the rest of the country. Gonna sim through the season. We're gonna quickly look at the coaches, just see if anybody got fired. Then I'm gonna make the next recruiting class. Okay, quickly look at the coach info. I don't know if anybody else got fired. Safe for now. Bobby Bowden got fired at Florida State. He ends up at Pitt as the DC. Mac Brown's fine. Carroll's fine. Harbaugh, we already knew. Obviously, Hayes is fine. Lou Holtz is fine. Don James. Jimmy. Chip is safe. Harbaugh's safe for now. Nealon's safe for now. Ed Orgeron. Tom Osborne, low, but he's safe. Joe Pa. Gary Patterson goes to Louisville. So Patterson's now going to be the OC for Schembechler. Saban safe, and Michigan Bo's got to pick it up. Howard's good at Louisville. Kirby, Steve Spurrier safe. Dabo safe. Barry Switzer safe. Whittingham safe. So I'm very interested for our coaches who've been fired. When are one of them going to get another opportunity? I'm very interested to see that. That's going to be kind of cool to track. So that is where we're going to end it, guys. I'm going to make the next recruiting class and we'll hop into the next season. All right, guys, so we are getting into our 5th season. There's only going to be 3 more seasons left in this video, and that will wrap up video 1. So we're just a little through halfway, decent amount through halfway through this one. Just made the recruiting class, so we are just going to get into that now. Yeah, this is a better recruiting class, in my opinion, than the last 2 that we just had. And then the next one is probably the best one since the first recruiting class. So the next 2 are a lot, the last 2 are just, So this one, we have some really big star level players in it. And this one I like because it's balanced. We kind of have players at each level. Wide receiver, that is the spot for this one. Quarterback, not great. Okay, So if we go through, we only have one quarterback. It is Chris Chandler. He played at Washington, was a really good college quarterback. So that is our one. He's looking at Washington, Washington State, Boise State, looks in all like West Coast. If we go running back, we got the legend Thurman Thomas, who played at Oklahoma State, NFL Hall of Famer, played on those Buffalo Bills teams that made, 4 straight Super Bowls. So he is looking at Texas, Baylor, OU, A&M, TCU. So all kind of that southern region. If we go to wide receiver, this is the best wide receiver class we will have for a while, and we have Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp's brother, who played in the NFL for a long time, or a decent amount of time, but when he played, he was very good, playing with Brett Favre in the 90s. He's looking at Notre Dame, Bama, Arkansas. He was a small school guy. Oh, he went to South Carolina. I thought he went to small school, but South Carolina, so a decent sized school. We have Anthony Miller, who played at Tennessee. Really good college player. He's from LA. He's looking at Notre Dame, OU, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Texas, Texas A&M. We have Brian Blades, who is a really high pick and really good player out of the U, Miami. He played he was a really good player there, and he played with his teammate, who we're going to look at in a second. He's looking at Notre Dame, A&M. Notre Dame just seems to be kind of in. They're the top 3 for all 3 of those guys. Then the last one, who they're also the top pick for, is the playmaker, Michael Irvin, who's looking at Notre Dame, Florida, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Washington, Penn State. Notre Dame looks like they're just trying to clean up. Then we have Keith Jackson, who actually played at Oklahoma. That's right. And he's been on the TV a lot, kind of an announcer, and yeah, he's from Little Rock, Arkansas. He's looking at Arkansas, Mizzou, Mississippi State, LSU, Tennessee. We have 3 offensive linemen, we have 4 offensive linemen. So we have Paul Gruber, who first is Notre Dame, and he went to Wisconsin in real life. That is the top of his boards right there. Oh, sorry, no, there's just one offensive lineman here for tackles. Then we go guards. We have another one, Randall McDaniel. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. He went to Arizona State. He's looking at Alabama, Notre Dame, SC, LSU. And Notre Dame looks like they could have the most. They're first under Monty Dawson. He went to Kentucky. He played for the Steelers as their center for a long time in the 90s, like 10 plus years. So really good player. Okay, we move on to defense. We got 3 defensive ends. We got Ken Harvey. He went to Cal. He's from Austin, Texas, OU, Arkansas. We got Neil Smith, who played at Nebraska. He's looking at Texas, OU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, LSU. Then our last one is Andre Bruce right here. Montgomery, Alabama. First Notre Dame, then Florida, Alabama, Georgia. Like, this is kind of scary what Notre Dame's trying to do here. We look at defensive tackles. We got one, Michael Dean Perry. He played at Clemson. I think he was like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's looking at South Carolina, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, Kentucky. We have no outsides, but we got 3 middles. So we got Bill Romanowski. This guy's kind of a meme. He was kind of known for being kind of like a crazy steroid guy. He's been in some movies and stuff too. I believe he was in The Longest Yard. He was a good college player, though. Obviously played at Boston College. He's looking at A&M, Notre Dame, Washington, Utah. We got Chris Spielman. He's like an NFL GM, I'm pretty sure, or was. He's at Ohio. He went to Ohio State in real life. He's from Ohio. So he's looking at Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, kind of all in that region. And then the last one is Ken Norton Jr., who was just a defensive coordinator for Seattle a few years ago. He won like 4 Super Bowls with the Niners and Cowboys in the 80s and 90s. So, really good player. His dad was also like the heavyweight champion of the world for boxing, I'm pretty sure. Ken Norton Sr. So he's going to a really small school, though. Illinois, Northwestern, Northern Illinois, I think Ball State and Indiana. If we go to cornerbacks, we got 3. We got James Hasty. He's from LA. He went to Washington State. He's looking at Texas, Penn State, South Carolina, Washington, Clemson. We have Eric Allen, who went to Arizona State. He's from San Diego. He's looking at UCLA, A&M, Mississippi State, Oregon. USC, I've noticed, is not like on any of these guys' boards. Even the guys from California, which is kind of surprising. And then we have Terry McDaniel. He went to Tennessee. He's looking at Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Notre Dame. And we have one more player. It is Benny Blades, who's like the 3rd overall pick, I'm pretty sure, in his draft class. He went to the U. He's looking at Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, LSU, Washington. So right now, Notre Dame, they've been on a roll recruiting, and they do not look like they are going to be stopping anytime soon. Okay, start of this season, we're going to look at all our preseason polls, all that good stuff. So A&M, they're an A+, they're first in the country right now. We got Notre Dame, second A+, Oklahoma A-, South Carolina A-, the Ohio State A+, Texas, Washington, Utah looks like they're taking a bit of a step back. Same with honestly Washington, only a B+. Kentucky, Penn State A-, Clemson A-, A for Auburn, Oregon, and Texas Tech B+. Stanford, Louisville, UCF is somehow a 9. Georgia not looking great. UCLA looks okay. Alabama taking a bit of a step back. Definitely got to look at LSU. Tennessee, not great. North Carolina, A+. We have a ton of like A+ level teams right now. Interesting. Let's look at the preseason Heisman watch. We got Kenny Minchie, who won it last year for Notre Dame. He is returning. So yeah, he's got to be... Oh, Roger Craig. I forgot about him. We haven't even been looking at him. He had 1,600 yards rushing last year for LSU, 240. He had almost 2,000 total yards, 19 receiving, rushing. He had 24 touchdowns. So, okay, we got to look out for Roger Craig for sure for LSU. Preseason All-Americans, Minchie, Roger Craig, John Alt for Baylor, Jimbo Covert, Bruce Matthews, those are all our guys. Joey Browner has been really good for Notre Dame. He's in his senior year. Go to second team, Marcel Reed, just kind of looking through. Carl Banks, that's looking like it for All-Americans. Look at championship contenders. I like to see. So Notre Dame is just killing it. 2-1-1. Texas A&M is also just looking really good. UCLA, Auburn, Ohio State looks like they're going to be really good. Clemson, Bama, LSU looks like they're picking it up. Oklahoma looks decent. Penn State starting to pick it up in like 2 years. USC kind of falling off for a bit for 2 years and then kind of getting back into it. Washington looks like they're going to be pretty consistent. Georgia just hasn't been recruiting good enough. Same with Michigan, Oregon. So that's what we're looking like kind of for the future. We will advance now until week 9, and then we'll kind of just look at recruiting and look at how everything's going. All right, so here we are in about the midway point of the season. Gonna go through our recruiting here. So QB Chandler looking like Oregon State, Boise State, just one of those two. Running back, where's Thurman? Right here, looking like, oh, I would really like him at Oklahoma. That's a really good fit for him. I'm sure Oklahoma State fans hate that, but just they're going to be a really heavy run team. You got a stud like Thurman in there. That'll be cool. If not Baylor, I mean, that'd be a great pickup for Baylor. Wide receiver Sharp going to Notre Dame. Miller going to Notre Dame. Blades, okay, so he's not going there too. Either South Carolina, Alabama, A&M. And then we got the playmaker. Okay, so he's not going to Notre Dame. Either Florida. It would be cool if he went to Florida. They'd have Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice for 1 season. Then a few other teams in the mix as well. But, ooh, wow. So look at just the 2 receivers they just bring in. Anthony Miller and Sterling Sharp going to Bama. Keith Jackson, our only tight end, going to Arkansas. Gruber going to Notre Dame. These guys are going to clean up shop, man. McDaniel going to Notre Dame. Dermontti Dawson looks like Notre Dame. Guys, okay, D-line. We got Harvey looking like Texas, maybe Arkansas, Oregon. Neil Smith looks like Texas, LSU, Ohio State. Andre Bruce, he's locked in at Florida. D-tackle, we only got 1. Michael Dean Perry, either South Carolina or Clemson. South Carolina with Spurrier. They're starting to pick it up a little bit. Oh, I forgot Steve Spurrier's at South Carolina. Yeah. What am I forget about that. Linebacker, we have no outsides. We do have 3 insides. Bill Romanowski, no one's really recruiting him. So A&M, Notre Dame, Utah, Washington. Spielman, Ohio State, Michigan, Cincinnati. And then Ken Norton Jr. He was looking at all those small schools. It looks like Illinois or Northern Illinois, maybe Ball State. If we go to corner, we got James Hasty looking like Washington, maybe Penn. Well, it's Washington or Penn State. Eric Allen going to UCLA. Terry McDaniel looking like Notre Dame, maybe Georgia. And then we got Beanie Blades. Oh, here's another safety going to Notre Dame. But Benny Blades looking like LSU, Florida, maybe Arkansas or Florida State. So that's, guys, Notre Dame is looking absolute. I'll be shocked if they're not number one. Shocked. Yeah, they're number one by far. 3 5-stars already. No one else. Okay, Ohio State does have 2, but Notre Dame's class already is just sharp. Miller, Gruber, athlete, Singleton. Yeah, like, my goodness, McDaniel. Notre Dame is like, Lou Holtz is just absolutely killing it there. We'll have to see what their record is. I mean, maybe they're taking a big step back this year, but they are loaded on just overall. Yeah, they're 8-0. A&M 8-0. UCLA, UCF, who is kind of loaded this year. It would be kind of fun to see Herschel Walker just lead them to like possibly a national championship appearance. Ohio State is 5-1, so they did lose to UNC. They beat OU earlier in the year. That would have been a cool game. Oklahoma, Georgia 6-1, Miami, Clemson, Oregon 5-2, Bama's 6-1, Nebraska 6-1. I like that. Just I don't want those legends like Osborne and Saban are debatably like the 2 best coaches of all time. I don't want them. And Joe Paul, like he was going to get fired. So all those guys are kind of picking it up, which is good. Utah, South Carolina, Illinois. So that's kind of our top 25 right now. USC's 2-5. My God, Pete Carroll might be out of there, man. Petey. So Notre Dame, who do they have anyone big left? Miami, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Does UCF play anyone? No. Okay, actually, I want to see Nebraska. I really want to see Nebraska. I want to see Eric Dickerson a little bit in this offense. So we're going to look at Nebraska plays Penn State in 2 weeks. So we're going to check out that game. Okay, let's look at Heisman watch. Marcel Reed at A&M. This Ncaa. Ncaa, if he wins this Heisman and then he wins the Natty this year for Notre Dame, he's got to be right now. Because I think Washington never won in Natty, but they were really good with Warren Moon. He's the only other player that's kind of been a standout so far. I mean, this Reed kind of has been the last 2 years as well, because they did win. If this guy wins a Heisman and he won the national championship last year, he's got to be kind of in the running for best player of the decade. That's just something I want to keep our eye on. Season stats: Minchie's leading the country in passing. Eric Dickerson 5th in rushing. None of our guys really looking like on that. Tackles, that's where we are. Sacks, and then interceptions. Schuller, O'Neal at UNLV. Let's get team stats. Total offense. Notre Dame 4,300 yards, best offense in the country right now. They're scoring 51 a game. Holy, their defense honestly isn't that great, but they have not scored less than 49 points this year. Okay, sorry, they scored 48 once. Their D actually is allowing a ton, but that is crazy. 51 a game. Defense, UCF. So they got the #1 defense in the country and Herschel Walker. That is a pretty scary combo for sure. I don't even know how much they use him. He wasn't in the top 5 rushing, but use him when you can. Okay, we're going to go up to Penn State versus Nebraska here. That's going to be Big Ten. Okay, so we got Nebraska, Penn State, 6-2 versus 7-1. It's a pretty good matchup. Yeah, I just want to see some Eric Dickerson, honestly, playing in this kind of triple option offense. So that's where we sit. Nebraska, 1st in the country in rushing, 345 yards a game. They're 10th in scoring. Both defenses are pretty similar. Nebraska definitely is the better offense. So some big recruits visiting Penn State this week. That's their top 3. Eric Dickerson, 1,000 yards right now, 12 touchdowns. He's leading the way. And then their other running back has 800 yards. So, man, I'm excited for this. I just want Dickerson to rush for like 300 yards. Is that okay? We just do that. Let's go through this next change of possession here. Let's get to Nebraska with the football. So Penn State goes down and scores. Let's watch some of this drive. I just want to see Dickerson. So there's Dickerson kind of on the left bottom right there, who's kind of motioning number 27. They're doing a little speed option. Dickerson gets a nice block. I mean, Dickerson and their other running back, they have two really good backs, averaging 350 rushing yards per game. So yeah, kind of wild. Let's see what they can do here. Got Dickerson coming around the corner, speed option. Oh, you gotta pitch that out to Dickerson. Let him do his thing. Okay, punt. I don't even care who wins this game. Like I said, I just want to see Eric Dickerson. Come on. In the triple option, Nebraska, Tom Osborne run game. Dickerson coming around the wing. Flip it to him. There we go. It's a tough run, 7 yards. Big number 27, Eric Dickerson. Okay, we got same kind of wing formation here. Actually gonna pass here, do a little slant, fire it in. Malachi Coleman. Okay, we're gonna watch one more play. Hopefully it's a run to Dickerson. So in this offense, Dickerson definitely plays more on the wing. Motion him, they're doing a toss, beat him to the edge. Nah, that didn't look great. Why are we stiff arming him when he's 3 yards away? Get upfield, put a move on him, run by him. Okay, we're gonna sim now a little bit here. We'll sim to half. So Nebraska ties at 6-6, end of 1. Penn State goes up 13-6, 13-6, 20-6, 27-6. Nebraska does score late and they get the ball, but yeah, that's not good. They do get a pass there, 5-yard rush, pass, 9-yard rush, Dickerson, 3rd and 1. Big third down here. This is where you want to use Eric Dickerson on 3rd and 1. Playing off his wing position. Oh, God. That looked awful. Their QB has 642 rushing yards, but that was not it. 27-12 right now. Field goal is good. 15-27. Byers is running like hell for Penn State. They haven't even passed yet. Holy. Look at the runs on that drive. Keith Byers is a really good running back for them as well. I guess we weren't really focusing on him because I wanted to watch Dickerson, but like this is like the perfect running back. Big, powerful back. Gets stuffed there, but like they literally went like 80 yards and passed once on this drive, like 9 rushes. Like if you look, oh, it won't let us see him anymore, but the blue dashes are runs and then the yellow is passes. So, okay, Byers still in the backfield, heavy goal line I form for Joe Paterno, and he gets in. Keith Byers, and Penn State has a pretty commanding lead over Nebraska right here. Okay, we'll sim. Murphy sacked, 3rd and 9, pass for 5. Yeah, this might be over right here. Penn State first, yeah. Okay, that is going to be it. We're going to go to the end of the game here. Penn State wins pretty handily, 48-15, 55-15. Nebraska had 1 loss, and Penn State just blew the doors off them. We wanted to watch Eric Dickerson. It looked like Byers stole the show today. Oh, I forgot they have Rich Gannon, too. That's a really good QB for them in the next few years. Byers, 154. You look at Nebraska. Oh my gosh, they completely boxed their run game. Their QB actually, like he threw 2 picks, but when he was just running the ball, he was actually pretty good. But okay, we're going to advance to conference championship weekend now. Let's look at the top 25. So yeah, Notre Dame undefeated, A&M undefeated. So Notre Dame's basically guaranteed a spot. A&M has to beat Georgia. If Texas A&M beats Georgia, they're probably in. If A&M loses to Georgia, it's probably Ohio State because Bama's not in their conference championship game. Wow, crazy. So yeah, we are going to be in order for a really good championship. I'm going to kind of just sim through these games and kind of see. So what's the first one? Georgia A&M. This is a huge ball game. Georgia loses by 7. A&M takes it. So they're basically in. The other one was going to be Ohio. I should have done this one actually first. Ohio State does beat Nebraska, but they have a loss. A&M has none. Notre Dame isn't in a conference. I might put Notre Dame in a conference. I know they're independent, but it kind of makes sense to maybe put them in the ACC. I would put them in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten's pretty good already. The ACC doesn't have as many Like, they have Clemson, Miami, two pretty good teams. I might put them in a conference, though, because it just makes more sense. They're going to be one of the better teams to make them have to, you know, play a conference championship game. We'll look at Heisman watch. Marcel Reed. So whoever wins it out of these two, and if whoever wins the Natty out of these two, if they play, like, look at this guy's got awards. Mincie's probably the best player in the sim so far, honestly. 49 passing touchdowns, Devin Brown, my quarterback somehow. Like, I literally don't recruit. I do nothing. Okay, so Marcel Reed, somehow my quarterback gets second. Minchie finishes third. So we have the Natty. Notre Dame versus A&M. This is a I didn't even realize. Yeah, this is a rematch of last year too. So the winner of this game is going to have 2 national championships, you know, a commanding lead. This is already Notre Dame's third national championship appearance. They are undefeated. We'll look quickly. Ohio State, UCLA. Ohio State's got to be pissed. 12-1, just miss out. Bama 11-1, but this is the big one, folks. The rubber match here. Both undefeated. The quarterback of each team, like, they got to be in the running for best player of the sim so far. I think it's these two quarterbacks and Warren Moon. Freaking A&M's averaging 552 yards a game. Notre Dame's at 49 points a game. A&M's got a slightly better defense. Those top three, there's Dupree. Oh man, this Notre Dame team, I don't know. A&M's good. I don't know how you contend with this Notre Dame team. If this Notre Dame team wins, I think they got to be the team of the decade so far. Like, this is the most talented team I have probably seen so far. Absolutely loaded. And we're doing it in the Rose Bowl, the best college football stadium on earth. And here we go. Let's sim through the first quarter. A&M hops out 7-0. Notre Dame gets stopped, but they score. Okay. Fumble recovered. Notre Dame is driving here. 2nd and 3. 1st and goal from the 6-yard line for the Golden Domers. They got their Munchie QB, and they got Marcus Dupree, but they're going to run read option. Oh my. Minchie gets absolutely obliterated on the play. My goodness. Minchie does have 13 yards and a touchdown, but he got destroyed there. This should be our boy Marcus Dupree in the backfield. I don't know if he's number 12 though. Oh my God, he's doing a fadeaway to the back corner. I don't think Dupree's number 12 actually, now that I'm looking. Is he injured? Marcus Dupree's out right now. So that's huge for A&M right here. 3rd and goal from the 8. They don't have their star running back. They do have Bavaro. That's big number 84 with the huge shoulder pads. Minchie drops back. He's got time. He's going to check it down. That's going to be a touch. What a tackle by the A&M secondary. 4th and goal. They're going to kick their 3. So it's going to be 10-7 Notre Dame. Texas A&M is driving. 1st and 10, 2nd and 9, 3rd and 1. They score. 8-yard touchdown for A&M. They're up 14-10. Fumbled. Minchie, I don't really know what happened there. Okay, Notre Dame's punting. Okay, we have a huge 3rd and 7 here. They've been the better team so far. They each have a chance to take a pretty nice lead into the half if they can get a touchdown here. Heisman winner drops back, checks it down underneath them. Oh, they freaking rolled them forward for the 1st down. Oh, Notre Dame, you don't want to do that. Then he hits Duper for 28, drop by Duper, Plant for 5. There's a minute left. Marcel Reed's been great in the first half. 191 and 2 touchdowns. He might get over 200 yards in the first half here. Heisman Trophy winner, trying to win back-to-back national championships. Drops back, sitting on his toes, gonna fire a strike. It's picked off. Wow, that is huge. Notre Dame picks him off. Okay, Reed intercepted by Minich. Minchie incomplete, dropped. Let's see if they can do anything on 3rd and 10 here. That is huge for A&M to come out with 0 points right there. Let's see if Minchie can do something here. They're just going to hand it off. Okay, this is their backup running back. He's going to fall forward about 12 yards on the play. See, 2-yard. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, 4th and 10. Yeah, they're punting. Okay, we got halftime. Minchie throwaway, 5 yards, 13 yards, 2nd and 3, 38-yard pickup, 6-yard rush, 3 yards. So Marcus Dupree is back in the game now. He had a strained forearm, it said. That's him without the gloves. The running back going on the little swing there. Oh, they tried to set up like a swing or a little like screen pass, and they're going down. They're going to kick a field goal, and it is good. It is a 1-point ball game. Duper, Reed, 3rd and 12. What does A&M have up their sleeve here? Heisman Trophy winner versus Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. Gonna slide. Oh my God, that's another pick. This could be a pick 6. He's gone. Is that Browner? Oh, no, that's Rod Woodson. True freshman, Rod Woodson with a pick 6 in the national championship game off the Heisman Trophy winner. Oh my goodness, Rod Woodson. That is crazy. Okay, we're gonna let it. Okay, this is taking a while, so I'm gonna go just through the rest of this quarter. 20. Oh man, so Notre Dame scores again. Duper for 31. We got a 3rd and 6 here. A&M's QB has made 2 horrible mistakes that's cost his team at least 10 points. Drops back, fires it out, but that's too late, and you're not going to let your guy turn up field. Marcel Reed had a great game. You know, he was killing. He passes Johnny Manziel's school record for passing yards. He was playing incredible until that pick right before the half. Oh, and then they go for it on 4th down. I didn't know they were going to do that, and they score a touchdown. It is a 5-point game. I didn't mean to kick this. We're going to go through this now. Ncaa, 4th and 4. They're going to punt. A&M's drive in 2nd and 4, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 11. They're stuck 5 here. Can they force this A&M quarterback into another dire mistake, or is he going to throw a laser? Motion him across, go to Duper at the top. That's where I'd go. Nope. Check it down. Are they going to make a tackle? They are, but last time they went for it on 4th and 4 in right around this territory and scored. I can't see what they're going to do, so we'll just watch. They are going for it. Marcel Reed in at quarterback. Duper at the bottom, number 87. They got blocking both running backs. Nice conversion there. Throws that in. What a game we have here, guys. This is wild. 3-yard rush. A&M misses the 2 points, so they're up 1. Ncaa has to do something here. It is 3rd and 7. Reed has over 400 yards. He has 2 horrible picks, but other than that, he's been great. Ncaa, I don't know, has not been as good. Drops back, has time, fires in a laser. There we go. Only 236 passing yards for Notre Dame. That's a big pickup for Tommy Anderson. And now Notre Dame's moving a little bit. They have 330. You really only need a field goal. So you can really actually kind of milk the clock here. They're going Dupree. Marcus Dupree. I mean, I would have probably cut that upfield. He does get 5 yards on the play, though. And they're still going hurry up for the Golden Domers. And, oh, read option with Ncaa. Oh, wow. Kenny Ncaa. 47 yards rushing. He can move. Man, Notre Dame is so set up for the future there. Running back, I don't know if that's Dupree. Yeah, I think it is, but he is gassed. Their offense is gassed. They're going Ncaa again. Okay. I would stop with the hurry up. They're not, though. It is 2nd and 10 here. Your whole offense is just absolutely gassed, boys. They're going read option again, and they get a hold. Minchie's going to fumble one of these. I would chill. I would chill with the hurry up. They're not. And look at Dupree. Look at their receivers. Everybody on their offense is literally like keeled over. And they're running just read option up and down the field, and Ncaa is throwing guys off him. Kenny Ncaa, and then he got hurt. Yeah, no shit. You're running hurry up the whole time. Wow, so he goes down, but their backup comes in and hits a 27-yarder the next play. Wow. Okay, trips to the bottom. Okay, speed. Oh my gosh, he got absolutely rocked. That's their backup. It is now 2nd and goal. I mean, they do only need, okay, so they hit a touchdown the next play. And they get a 2 point. So A&M is down 7. So they need a touchdown here. Incomplete. 7. 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 1st and 10, 1st and 10. Wow, what a drive. They got it down to the 11-yard line. They have 38 seconds left to try to tie this thing. Motion the guy across. Drops back. Oh, he's going to tuck it and run. He's got green grass. Tackled about at the 1-yard line. They have 22 seconds. Only one timeout. They need a touchdown. Oh my goodness. They're going to spike it. 3rd and 1. He is 471 yards passing. Another at least 20, 30 yards rushing. What a battle between these two teams, these two QBs. Oh my, 3rd and 1, 16 seconds. Oh my gosh, they almost got the guy offside. Drops back. He's got room. Oh, wide open. Touchdown, Texas A&M. We are going to have overtime here. 34 all, no return, intercepted. They almost picked 6 that on the last play of the game. They got it down to the 20-yard line. There's no time left, though, so they couldn't do anything. Okay, A&M's going to start on OT. Going to hand it off here. Really nice. Whoa, great run for Cedric Franklin. He's got 112 yards rushing. Okay, we got a super... Okay, so they hit him for the next play for a touchdown. They get the 2-point. Ross throwaway. So they have their backup in right here. Hits him. Okay, so it is 4th and 8 right here for Notre Dame. The season on the line. A&M trying to win back-to-back national championships. Drops back. Time. Oh, he checks it down. That is it. A&M back-to-back over Notre Dame 2 years in a row. Wow. A&M. So they have to be the team of the sim right now. I mean, Notre Dame, I think, has the best future, and Ohio State. But I mean, A&M's back-to-back national champions. They made 2 in a row. One of them, Notre Dame's made 3, but they're 1 and 2 in the big game. Wow. Absolutely crazy. Marcel Reed. This guy, we're going to look at both those two stats. They got to be the players of the sim so far. I think Warren Moon was really good too, but like I said, we're going to do kind of the player of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. So, you know, we'll see. Yeah, let's look at the stats. But yeah, I want to check out who kind of is running the show. Okay, so Marcel Reed, 486, 5 touchdowns. He also ran for 31 in the game. Receiving, Duper, one of our receivers, his senior year, he gets 185 yards in the big one. Notre Dame, Ncaa just didn't play very good, honestly. 241, he threw 2 picks. He did have 67 yards rushing. Dupree got injured and he was super ineffective after that, which really hurt them. Yeah, they just weren't good enough on offense. It was really their defense with the sacks and the pick 6 by Rod Woodson that kind of kept them in the game. Honestly, Texas A&M was just better today. Reed definitely outplayed Ncaa, and yeah, that kind of did it. Back to back for A&M. Okay, we're going to advance to end of bowl season here. So looking at the final top 25, Texas A&M, Tulane, Notre Dame, UCLA, Memphis, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia. Heisman, we already know Marcel Reed wins it in his senior year. Ncaa's right there. Somehow my QB. Devin Brown at Ohio State. All-Americans, Reed, Duper, Bruce Matthews, Joey Browner at Notre Dame. Ncaa gets first or second team this year. Dolman, only a sophomore. Bill Moss for Ohio State. Jack Del Rio at middle for Texas. Cool. Let's look at freshmen. Mark Rippon at Oregon. Christian Okoye at UCLA. 830 yards had Rippon do. 20. Yeah, good year. Carrier at USC. Will Wolford on the O-line. Greg Lloyd, number 1 for Oklahoma. 4 interceptions at outside linebacker. Cool. So that's where we're sitting with All-Americans. We'll look at leaders for each. Duper at a ton of yards, tackles, sacks, and INTs. Browner at 7. We'll look at team stats. So total offense, A&M had the best offense in the country. Notre Dame had more points by a little bit, but they did play one more game, I guess, A&M, but than Notre Dame. But yeah, Bama, Tulane, Ohio State. Look at defense, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, points. There we go. Then I want to see which coaches are on the hot seat. Who could be getting fired this year? Alvarez safe for now. Bobby Bowden gone. He's the defensive coordinator at Pitt. Mac Brown safe for now. Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll might be getting fired this year. Harbaugh, he's safe. Oh, Harbaugh got actually promoted. So now Harbaugh is the head coach of Louisiana Monroe. So that's kind of cool. So we are seeing one of our coaches actually jump back up into the coaching ranks, which is cool. Woody Hayes, been incredible at Ohio State. Lou Holtz, been absolutely incredible at Notre Dame, especially when you look at recruiting. Job security low for Don James. They did have a bad year this year, but he's 52-16. Jimmy Johnson is safe. Chip safe. Urban low. Nealon safe. Ed Orgeron low as the OC. Tom Osborne is safe. Paterno's safe. Gary Patterson's low as the OC. Saban safe for now at Bama. So Bo might get fired. Schnellenberger is safe. Kirby Smart is safe. Steve Spurrier is safe. Dabo's safe. Barry Switzer's been really good at OU, and Whittingham's been really good. So I think the two we got to look for is Carroll and maybe Urban Meyer. Oh no, Bo at Michigan. Okay, we'll go to National Signing Day. Okay, let's go through signing day. We knew what most. Chandler, we knew our running backs. We knew all our receivers, right? Blades, we knew all our receivers. We knew all those. DNs, Harvey, Andrews, Andre, D tackle. Yeah, he was either going to go South Carolina or Clemson. He goes South Carolina. Romanowski ends up at Notre Dame. Spielman, Ohio State. Ken Norton, Ball State. Hasty, we knew all those. McDaniel, Notre Dame. Yeah, oh my God, Notre Dame's recruiting, man. Come on, Notre Dame. Number one class, 6 5 stars, 11 4 stars. Ohio State was nothing to shake at. Really good themselves, but my God, Notre Dame they're looking scary here, boys. Okay, we're just gonna go to the preseason. Then I want to quickly look at my coaches and just see who got fired, and then I'll make the next recruiting class. Okay, quickly look at coaches just to see. Wow, okay, so Barry's safe, Bowden's gone. Pete Carroll did get fired. He's now the Ohio State defensive coordinator. Jim Harbaugh got hired by Oregon State. Okay, this is cool. So Harbaugh's back in the mix. That's cool. So Carroll, Bobby Bowden, you guys can get back. Harbaugh became a head coach again. Woody Hayes, Lou Holtz, fine. The other one was going to be Urban is hot seat right now. Nealand, Ed Orgeron, Tom Osborne, Paterno, Patterson, we knew Louisville, Schembechler. Oh my goodness. So Ohio State hires Bo Schembechler to run their offense and then Pete Carroll to run their defense under Woody Hayes. That is crazy. Everyone else stays where they are at. Oh yeah, so we're going to end the 1984 season. I'm going to make the next recruiting class. All right, so this 85-86 recruiting class is made. We're in the 1985 season. A&M is coming off back-to-back national championships. Now, this recruiting class is insane. There's like 5 NFL Hall of Famers, some of the best college and NFL players of all time. So let's get right into it. Texas A&M, obviously coming off back-to-back natties. Notre Dame, just kind of dominating recruiting and making it to 3 national championships so far. We will see. So we have Rodney Peete. He was either nominated or I think he might even have won a Heisman. He was a quarterback for USC from Arizona. He's looking at Bama, Notre Dame, A&M, Michigan. Then we have Troy Aikman, and A&M is first for him. Then we got Bama, Notre Dame, Iowa, UCLA. He actually started at Oklahoma and then transferred to UCLA later in his career. Go on to running backs, and we have 5 running backs. This is a really good class. So we have Darryl Johnston, who's a fullback running back. He played for the Dallas Cowboys in their kind of dynasty run. So yeah, he's kind of a fullback running back hybrid. He's looking at Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. We got the GOAT, Barry Sanders, who might go to Nebraska. I hope he goes to Nebraska. He could put up some insane stats there. If not Kansas, his home state team, LSU or Oklahoma would be cool. He went to Oklahoma State in real life. We got Tim Worley, who played at Georgia, was a pretty high pick in the NFL draft. Then we got Marion Butts, who played at Florida State, was pretty decent in the NFL as well and really good in college. Then we got Eric Metcalf, who's kind of a receiver, running back, hybrid in the NFL. Really crazy athlete. He's from Seattle, Washington, looking at Bama, Notre Dame, A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. And the last one is Dave Meggett, who is a really good kind of receiving back in the NFL, mostly with the Giants. He's looking at Georgia, Bama, Clemson, Florida, Tennessee. So just a crazy running back group right there. Go down to wide receiver. We got two. We got Andre Rison, who was really good in the NFL. Flint, Michigan, looking at Notre Dame, Bama, Ohio State, Texas A&M. And then the next one is Tony Martin right here. He played at a kind of a community college, was a good player in the NFL though. A&M, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in on everyone. If we go tight ends, we got one. It is Wesley Walls, who played at Ole Miss. He's looking at Bama, LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, Notre Dame. If we go to offensive line, we actually have quite a few offensive linemen. First, we got Tony Mandarich, who is kind of known as this just like physical freak. He was like really well known. He played at Michigan State, I believe. And yeah, he's actually from Canada. He's looking at Bama, and I'll be shocked if he doesn't go to Notre Dame. Honestly, I feel like offensive linemen are just going to go there. We have a few guards. We got first Mark Schlereth, played on the Denver Broncos, is like a commentator in the NFL right now. He played at he played at Iowa. And then and that's his top teams. We also have Steve Wisniewski, right here. Steve Wisniewski, Notre Dame, of course. He's from Pennsylvania. First on his board, Notre Dame, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan. And we have a few centers as well. We have Fontenot. He played at Texas A&M. He's from Louisiana, Alabama, OU, Ohio State, Notre Dame, of course. And then we got Mark Stepnowski. He's looking at Ohio State, Georgia, A&M, and he played at Pitt himself. Okay, so a ton on offense, not as many on defense, but we do have some good players. One of the main ones is Derek Thomas. Now, he actually played at Alabama. He's from Miami, Florida. The U is first on his list: A&M, Clemson, UCLA, Penn State, Oklahoma, LSU. And then the other one is Trace Armstrong, who played at Florida. He's looking at Texas, Ohio State, Florida, Wisconsin, Michigan. We have no defensive tackles. We have one outside linebacker, no middles. So outside linebackers, Broderick Thomas, who played at Nebraska. He was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's looking at A&M, Georgia. So A&M getting those two natties, they've really kind of bumped up on a lot of these boards. No middles. Then we have the GOAT, Deion Sanders at corner. This recruiting class is insane, guys. We got Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida, and Texas. Whoever gets him is obviously getting a superstar. We also have Donnell Wolford. He's kind of small, but really athletic. He played at Clemson. Got Notre Dame, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn. That is it there. And then we have a few safeties, I believe. Yeah, we have Carnell Lake from Utah. He's looking at Utah, A&M, BYU, Oklahoma, Arizona. And then if we go strong safety, we have the legend Steve Atwater. Actually played at Arkansas. He's looking at Notre Dame, Alabama. Yeah, he's got like a lot of teams he's looking at, a lot of the big schools. So that is it, guys. Once again, it just seems like Notre Dame and now A&M with those back-to-back natty wins seems to be way higher on a lot of guys' boards. So yeah, those two teams kind of have a stranglehold on it right now. Ohio State too, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, looking at preseason polls, Notre Dame and Texas A&M 1 and 2. Texas A&M A+, Ohio State, UCLA A+. Alabama A-, Arizona somehow ranked really high. Penn State looks decent. Oklahoma looks pretty good. UCF, I wonder if they still have Herschel. If they still have Herschel, I mean, they got a shot. Oklahoma, Clemson, Georgia, Nebraska, B+, North Carolina. Texas looks decent. Cal looks okay. Pitt looks decent. South Carolina, Oregon, Auburn, kind of all around there. Florida, A-, A+ on offense. They have Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin this year, so definitely a look at their team. Heisman watch. Going to be some new names. Ted Wilson, Joe Thomas, Tudis, Frank Reich at Georgia is kind of our real life guy. We look at preseason. Joe Thomas at Miami of Ohio, Lomas Brown at Florida, Michael Pratt and Leslie O'Neal on the D-line. Okay, that's first team. Second team, Frank Reich. That's kind of what the second team is looking like. Actually, let's look at championship contenders. I think it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. They're just the two best teams. Ohio State is probably, those three are really just the three best teams right now in the sim. UCLA, Bama's good for the next 2 years, then takes a bit of a nosedive. Like who after that? Ohio State, Florida. Okay, Florida looks like they're building something. Penn State, USC, maybe. They actually have a new coach. They got rid of Carroll. Auburn. Like, who do they like in a few years that's maybe going to jump up a lot? Oklahoma, Texas, Cal, UCLA, Utah. So that's kind of our championship contenders over the next few years. Let's look at some of these rosters. So Bama, really good running back. They got that John Hand on the D-line, Ernest Givens, Casillas. They got some wide receivers. Their quarterback is like okay, not incredible. They have a ton of wide receiver talent. Look at that talent. All juniors. Wow. By next year, they're going to be incredible. Ernest Givens is their best, who's one of our guys. So yeah, Bama looks decent. Definitely has a shot to make some noise. Florida, Pratt. They got Jerry Rice, Lomas Brown, Ray Brown, Neil Anderson at running back. Yeah, they're low-key kind of loaded. They got a good QB. They got a sophomore in behind him. Running backs, Anderson, Fullwood, who's coming up. Yeah, they're building something on offense. They got Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin as their top two receivers this year. And then when Jerry leaves, this is going to be kind of the Michael Irvin show. So honestly, Florida under Urban Meyer is building something pretty nice. Michigan, they got Randall Cunningham for one more year, but he's just not been good for them. Nebraska, they have a good senior quarterback, this guy who really fits their offense. Like, he ran for 1,000 yards last year in this kind of triple option offense. Good running back. It would be real. I really kind of hope Barry Sanders goes here. Notre Dame right now, Bavaro, they actually don't look quite as good as last year. And looks like Marcus Dupree actually left college early, so they lose their stud running back. They're still obviously going to be really good. They got Jason Ross probably going to start over Harbaugh this year, but we'll see maybe by next year if Harbaugh takes over. So yeah, Notre Dame, they are totally just built. They got Sterling Sharp this year too, elite freshman wide receiver. Plus they got Anthony Miller they can build around. They are just going to be real. How good is Rod Woodson now? Rod Woodson went up to a 92 overall. They kind of got guys everywhere. So yeah, they're going to be good for a long time. We go down to Ohio State. Mackenzie Bo Jackson is finally going to be taking over at Ohio State. Oklahoma, nice QB for them this year. They look pretty good. Greg Lloyd, Deshaun Green. Did they lose Darrell Green? Yeah, but they look good. We are going to advance till week 9, and then we'll look at recruiting, look at top 25, try to find a game, all that good stuff. Alrighty, so we are now in week 9. We're going to take a look at recruiting here. We'll see what we're looking at. So Rodney Peete looking like A&M or Arizona. A&M is doing work. Troy Aikman's going to Iowa. All right, there we go. Daryl Johnston, maybe Clemson, maybe Bama, LSU. Barry looking like Nebraska, Kansas State, LSU, Kansas, maybe Oklahoma. Worley looking like Duke, North Carolina State, Nebraska. Butts looking like North Carolina State, Mizzou, LSU. Metcalf looking like A&M, Bama, Tennessee. Whoever gets him, he's a freak. Fast as hell. Maggot might go to Florida, Clemson, maybe Tennessee. Wide receiver Andre Rison going to South Carolina Gamecocks. And then Tony Martin going to the U. They don't get many big time recruits from our sim really so far, so that's a good pickup obviously. Wesley Walls looking like either Auburn or Notre Dame. Notre Dame really hasn't been I bet you they're destroying with offensive line. That's a guy who's not on a part of it, but got it. Mandarich looking like actually A&M or LSU, maybe Bama or Georgia. Guard Schlereth going to Notre Dame, Florida, maybe Georgia. Then Wisniewski, Tennessee or Ohio State, it looks like. Fontenot going to Oklahoma. That's a big pickup for their run game. Stepanowski looking like A&M, Georgia. A&M guys, man. We have Armstrong. So DT looking like Penn State. Maybe people aren't even recruiting Derek Thomas. All right. Trace Armstrong looking like Bowling Green, Wisconsin or Michigan. We have no D tackles. One outside linebacker, Broderick Thomas, looking like A&M most likely. Crazy. Okay, corner, this is going to be huge. Dion looking like Florida, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, maybe Clemson. So he's down to 5. That's going to be a huge pickup. Wolford going to Notre Dame. Lake looking like Utah, maybe Arizona. And then last but not least, Steve Atwater looking like Iowa or Notre Dame, maybe Bama. If Iowa gets freaking Steve Atwater and Troy Aikman, that would be pretty big for freaking Iowa. Okay, let's see the rankings right now. Nebraska actually leading the way. That's huge for Nebraska. Oklahoma, Miami of Ohio, Oregon. Yeah, it obviously is super early, but this is a very good start. For Nebraska to get a 5-star and that many and 7 4-stars already, that's really huge for Tom Osborne. He was on the hot seat there. I was a little worried for our boy, but he's putting it together a little bit here. Okay, let's look at top 25. Ohio State undefeated, Georgia, Florida, Penn State 5-1, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Army. So that means A&M's lost 2 games. So A&M probably not winning their 3rd straight. And where's Notre Dame? How many have they lost? Notre Dame's not in the top 25, unless I'm blind. Wow, Notre Dame. Okay, so Ohio State, Georgia, Florida. Do Florida and they play this week. Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, Georgia Bulldogs. I like it. Let's watch that. Let's check out our Heisman watch here. Andy Parker at Florida leading the way for the Heisman. Frank Reich in second, and this is the game we're going to watch. So the 2 Heisman front runners right now for Florida and Georgia. Harmon Parker, second in the country in passing. A&M's quarterback right there. Mark Rippon for Oregon in 5th. Rushing, there they are. Receiving, Jerry Rice finally blowing up, leading the country in receiving right now. There's sacks and there is INTs. Just going to look at our team stats here quick. So total offense, BYU, Florida, Georgia. So we're seeing the top 2 offenses in the country basically right here, right now in this game we're going to check out. Yeah, Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan. Where the hell is Notre Dame? What happened to them? They scored almost 50 points a game, right? And they are 4-3. They're scoring 19 less points per game. Crazy. Notre Dame. Here's where we're kind of sitting defensively. Florida, Georgia. We got college game day now. 7-0 versus 7-0, 2-3 in the country. Mark Rippon versus Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. Georgia, 2nd in the country. Florida, 1st in the country in offense. So Urban Meyer is finally getting his offense rolling at Florida. I like it. Frank Reich having a really nice year. Jerry Rice leading the country in receiving. Lomas Brown, their stud. They have a great offensive line too, but it looks like they have some injuries. Okay, we got the rain. We got the muck. That's not good for Florida. I'd say this definitely favors Georgia in this game. The weather, they're going to run the ball where Florida, I think, wants to pass a little bit more with their stud wide receivers. But we will see. So who's starting here? Frank Reich. So this is Georgia. They're going to punt 1st and 10. We got a big 3rd and 7. Oh my God. It is just a torrential downpour in Florida. They're going empty right here. They got Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice. Go to one of them. They got a screen pass. Is that Jerry? Jerry Rice with the 9-yard reception. He's number 87 for the Gators. That might put him over 1,000 yards almost. 8-yard rush minus 4-yard rush. Ooh, and they're going to punt it. Okay, we'll go through the first quarter here. I'm glad we got to see at least one Jerry Rice catch there. Still 0-0. This is just the rain. We're going to go to this second half. Okay, Florida finally scores. Georgia 7-3. Georgia's driving here, and they score a 20-yard touchdown run. They go up 10-7. Michael Irvin for 15. We got a big 3rd and 4 here for the Gators. Trips to the top. Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice playing for the Gators together. Drops back. He's bombing it. That was picked off. Tried to go one-on-one matchup with Jerry Rice, and Georgia's corner low stepped in front, made a big pick on that one. That's big. 3rd and 10. Okay, let's see what Frank Reich's got. Obviously, their QB room is absolutely just stacked for Georgia. They got Frank Reich for the next 2 years. That's what he does. Throws a nice out route, but they're going to be about a yard short on that one. Knowing how Kirby likes to play, I'm guessing they're going to punt. No, they go for it and they get 19 yards. 2nd and 7, 1st and 10, 2nd and 3. 1st and goal from the 1 yard line with 50 seconds left. They're trying to kind of put, not Georgia away, obviously, but to go up 17-10 right before the half would be huge. Frank Reich fires back corner, the end zone. Ooh, that was a nice throw. He actually probably didn't need to put that much air under it, but he dropped it right into that back pylon. Frank Reich for the touchdown. I don't know. Does Florida have something big? Okay, Jerry Rice for 35 yards right there. 8 yards, 19 yards. So this Florida team is dynamic. They got 7 seconds right here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You better get out of bounds. Oh man, you got to get out of bounds there. Is that Michael Irvin? Yeah, that was Michael Irvin. The freshman didn't step out. Got to step out there, Mikey. Okay, let's go change of possession here. Anderson, Parker, Anderson throwaway. Grimes for 30, dropped. Michael Irvin. Okay, we got 3rd and 4. Florida needs a conversion here. A touchdown here obviously would be huge. You don't really want a field goal here. Drop back. They're doing another little screen. Is that Michael Irvin? Michael Irvin reception on the screen pass. He gets down inside like the half-yard line. This is wild. Oh, they get -4 there, but they score the next play. Touchdown run. This Florida. Michael Irvin and Jerry. I just can't get over that. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 3. Pick it up. 2nd and 4. 1st and goal. Fisher for 26, and that's a touchdown. Georgia 23. 2nd and 10. 3rd and 8. Okay, what do you got on 3rd and 8 for us, Florida? Go to Michael or go to Jerry. That's what we want to see. That's what we paid our hard-earned money for. Okay, gonna drop back. There's Jerry on the drag. Oh, that was a nice throw. I don't know if that's the tight end or a slot receiver right in the middle of the Georgia defense. Fires it in for the completion. Okay, Anderson, -3. Jerry, 35-yard rush. Anderson, this is a great game. Frank Reich, 2nd inches, 1st and 10, 2nd and inches, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 1st and 10, and -2, 3rd and 8. So here's a 3rd and 8. Florida definitely want to hold them to 3 here. If you hold them to 3, it's a 6-point game in the 4th quarter. Frank Reich in empty here, drops back, finds a drag, and the guy does a great job of turning upfield right away and picking up the 1st down. Okay, we'll keep saying touchdown. So Georgia's just kind of answering back each time. 3rd and 2, they pick it up. 1st and 10, they're really going to Anderson here a lot. Okay, another 3rd down here for Florida. They need to convert this, and they just need a stop on defense. So we will see. Drops back. They're doing another screen on 3rd down, and this time Georgia eats that alive. And that, if Florida decides to punt here, they're going for it. Okay, I was gonna say if they decide to punt here, that might be it. Andy Parker, 262, but he does have that pick when he tried to go one-on-one with Jerry Rice. Needs it here. If they don't convert here, it's probably over. Little pump and go. You got to get rid of it. Get rid of it. Not there, but that was cool to get out of the sack, I guess. Okay, we'll go end of the game here unless something really weird. Oh, Florida's driving and they just scored. Jerry Rice 14 yards. It's a 3-point game. I don't know how Georgia turned it over that quick. -4. Got Frank Reich 3rd and 7 here. This is massive, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, drops back. Frank Reich fires it. Oh, that is a great tackle by the Florida defender. It is going to be 4th and 1. Kirby is not an aggressive coach. I'm sure they're punting it. They do. And it's the go time for Florida. Parker to Grimes for 31. Jerry Rice for 42 yards. They go 70 yards in 2 plays. And now Florida can take the lead here. Go to Jerry or Michael. We want to see it. They're going to do a little read option. Georgia comes up and fills. Georgia, obviously, if you can hold them to 3 here, we're going to see overtime. Okay, let's go. Oh, I wanted to watch that. Michael Irvin, a 6-yard touchdown, and Florida takes the lead. And then 33 yards, 24 yards. Now Georgia just goes through Florida like nothing. Okay. Here, though, the difference is Georgia needs a touchdown. Florida, they could have tied it with a field goal. Here is 4-down territory for Georgia. You need a score. You only have one timeout. Throws it to the back of the end zone, throws it out of bounds. Frank Reich. Okay, let's see here. Trips to the top. Frank Reich drops back. Fires it down there. Gonna step out of bounds. That's only 2 yards. That really doesn't do much for you. Other than the fact he got out of bounds and you didn't have to burn a timeout, that is about it. So 2 plays to get in the end zone. Technically, they could get a first down, but then you got to burn your timeout. You're probably not going to have much time. So say 2 shots to the end zone. Fires it back corner, and that is a score. Frank Reich leads an incredible drive. Like a hot knife through this Georgia defense's butter. Oh my God, they just hit Grimes for a 40-yard play. There's 3 seconds left. I mean, yeah, if there was 10 seconds left, you'd only need 10 yards and you could kick a field goal. Here, you got to basically go to the end zone. Kinda, no. So that's it. Wow. That was a great game, though. Georgia storms back. Well, Florida stormed back. Looked like they were going to win. Then Frank Reich goes down the field, throws 3 great passes, and that is it. Georgia beats Florida on the road to stay undefeated. Florida gets their perfect season ruined with Michael Irvin and Jerry. Both had really good games, I think. Frank Reich, 342. Really nice. Do they have any of our receivers? Not really. If we go to Florida, Jerry had 142. Their third receiver had 182, and Michael had 53 and a touchdown. Their QB, I believe he's a senior. Parker, yeah, he had 430 and 2 touchdowns rushing. Jerry had -7 yards. Michael Irvin had 6. Anderson, they wrote a lot, 154 and 3 touchdowns. So we picked a great game to watch here, guys. Florida and Georgia. Down to the wire, and Frank Reich gets it done in this 1985 season. Okay, we are going to now just sim to conference championship weekend, and we'll see where we're at. Conference championship weekend, we're going to go through recruiting real quick. A lot of the guys will probably be signed now. Rodney Pete, we knew. A&M, we knew. Daryl Johnston, Clemson, it's looking like. Maybe Alabama. Barry, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Nebraska, still all in it. Worley going to Duke, LSU, North Carolina State, Mizzou for Marion Butts. Eric Metcalf going to A&M. Maggot going to Florida. I like that fit. Andre Rising going to South Carolina with Steve Spurrier. Martin going to the U, we knew that. Walls going to Auburn. We haven't seen much of them getting big time recruits, so there we go. Tackle Mandarich going to A&M, big. Schlereth looking like Florida, Notre Dame, Georgia. So Florida or Notre Dame not quite dominating recruiting like they have been. Wisniewski looking like Tennessee or Ohio State. Fontenot we knew. Stepnowski looking like A&M, Penn State, Georgia. DT going to Penn State. That's a huge get for Penn State. Armstrong looking, yeah, some small schools. D tackle, we don't have any. Outside, Broderick Thomas looking like A&M, maybe Texas. A&M is just putting work. Dion going to Florida. So he misses Jerry by a year, but they're going to have him and Michael Irvin together for 3 seasons. That is crazy. Wolford is going to Notre Dame. Florida. So Florida's putting it together a little bit. Carnell Lake going to Utah. And Atwater looking like Bama or Notre Dame. Okay, I'm liking what Florida's doing. Florida's really putting it together a little bit here. Auburn, number 1. Nebraska, Penn State. Florida's not even on the list, but I liked some of their signings. Like, they're on the list. They're not in the top 10. A&M looks pretty good. There's still a lot of guys up in the air. ULM has 2 freaking 5-star receivers. Okay, let's look at the top 25 heading into conference championship weekend. Georgia undefeated. Okay, and they play Ole Miss in the championship. Okay. Army defeats Navy, so they might be in. Florida 11-1. So that Florida-Georgia game was absolutely massive. UCLA, Michigan. I'm a little worried here. It might be Army versus Georgia. If Michigan beats Nebraska, maybe they'll sneak in. Okay, so we might not have the best national championship game coming up. I don't know. So Gooden at Baylor wins the Heisman. 2,500 rushing yards. Holy crap. Frank Reich gets second. It's Army versus Georgia. Okay, we'll watch some of it. It's probably going to be a blowout. Frank Reich trying to take home a natty. He could, we're looking for our best players of the decade. He could maybe sneak in for the 1980s too. I mean, if he wins a natty here, he comes out, wins a natty and a Heisman next year. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. He had a really good year this year, 48 total touchdowns. They have Steve Young. Is that Steve Young? There's so many guys, it's hard for me to keep track of them. Okay, maybe we just got ourselves a game here. Is that freaking Steve Young playing for Army? It's hard for me to keep track. I think it is. Okay, all this, I was kind of like, this game. We got Steve Young leading Army to a national championship. Possibly. He's trying to just become the ultimate American hero. Steve freaking Young. They're kind of a triple option team. Yeah, he's ran for 500 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2 picks, another 4 yards rushing, or 4 touchdowns rushing. Okay, I was not ready for this. Okay, I'm kind of excited now. Okay, we're going to go for the first quarter and we'll see. I mean, Army's still going to be in a tough spot, but if anyone can lead them, it's Steve freaking Young. Okay, we got a 3rd and 9 here for Army. I don't know what Steve Young's got in his left arm. I mean, we know he can run. He can kind of do it all. Oh, this is only 3rd and 4. I thought it was 3rd and 9. He's going to drop back. The lefty slings it. God, an open man. He's only a junior too. Wow. Steve Young, 5-yard run by... okay, I'm kind of chill. I'm low-key cheering for frickin' Army now. 1st and 10, Steve Young. 2nd and 3, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7 inside the 10-yard line. I do kind of remember Steve Young committing. There's so many guys. It's hard for me to always keep track of where everyone is, but wow, Steve Young. Okay, drop back. A little draw play. Gonna get tackled. 100 yards rushing already for Army. This is both these two teams, obviously for Army, but also Notre Dame's first appearance in the Natty in this sim. Steve Young drops back, kind of avoids pressure, fires a pass out there, doesn't gain a ton of yards, but hey, you will take a field goal right there if you are Army. That is totally fine. It is 7-3. Okay, let's see what Frank can do. 2nd and 5, 3rd and 6. Okay, let's see what Frank Reich's got. Steve Young, Frank Reich. Okay, Frankie, 3rd and 6. He's only a junior too, so we got... Okay, there's a nice throw over the middle. We got 2 junior signal callers leading their teams on runs right now. Okay, let it go and complete. Reich to Fisher for 38 yards. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 1. Army needs a stop here. You do not want to go down 14-3 in this game. As Army, you are built to run the ball, not to be coming down from multi-point deficits. Frank Reich's going to pass. No one's really open, but he finds a guy late for the touchdown. Steve Silva, and Frank Reich is really trying to put just kind of his stamp on this game right now. Beats his old record for passing yard or touchdowns in a season. Steve Young needs an answer here. 4-yard rush, 5. They're just not built for this. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 5. They pick it up. Oh, penalty against the offense. 3rd and 13. What do you got here, my guy, Stevie? Wishbone brings this guy around. Steve Young drops back, fires it into the flats. That is not going to be enough there. That's 4th and 11. George is going to call their timeout. Yeah, they're trying to put 21 on the board here. 2nd and 10, picks up 11, picks up 19, picks up 19, picks up 14, picks up 14. Frank Reich, look at those passes. Those yellows are completions. Completion. Wow. That was a drive, and now Army's in trouble here. Steve Young for 35, dropped. And then Steve Young for a 40-yard touchdown. Steve Young ain't going away. Steve Young just hits 2 35-plus yard plays. And yeah, that's going to take us to the half. Army starts with the ball as well. 5-yard rush. -2, 3rd and 9. Once again, this is not where Army wants to be, but you have a Hall of Fame signal caller under center. Motion a guy across. Gonna drop back, little draw. Oh, you got to get more aggressive there, in my opinion. Don't think they're going to be going for it here. No, they're punting to Georgia. They need a stop on defense, but Frank for 41 yards. He's just dealing. 3rd and 3. Gotta hold him to 3 here. You're down 14 then. Frank Reich just feels like he is in total control of this Georgia offense. Gonna hand it off, get the first down. Okay, 4-yard rush, -2. Okay, they do actually hold them to a field goal. You need a drive here if you're Army. 2nd and 4, 3rd and 3. This is where they want to be. Obviously, you want to be, third. If you're in 3rd down, you want to be 3 or 4, because then your whole playbook, if your Army's available, you don't have to do drop back passing, which you're not built to do. You're going to run speed option, Steve Young. Okay, they were lucky that was not considered a fumble. They're going to have to punt now. So yeah, that's going to do it most likely. You never know, but yeah, no. There it is. Kirby Smart wins his first national championship. That's Georgia's first appearance in our sim. They win 1985. There we go. So Georgia, I was a little worried for Kirby there for maybe a year. Just he had like one bad season. Him and Bam, I remember both were unranked, I think, at the end of the year, something like that. I was like, ooh, Kirby might get fired. But he stays alive. He's got just a QB factory right now. He's got 3 of our real life QBs just waiting in the wings. So, okay, we're going to advance week and then do kind of all our end of the season stuff. Let's look at top 25. Georgia, 14-0. UCLA, Michigan, Florida, Army, Ohio State, Utah, Notre Dame sneaks in. I'm worried about our boy Nick Saban might get fired right here. We're going to look at the coaches here, see who's on the hot seat. I'm worried for our guy Saban. Gooden wins the Heisman. Frank Reich gets 2nd. Let's look at some season stats. So Parker at Florida led the country. Frank Reich was 3rd. Gooden, 2,600 rushing yards. Oh my God. Jerry Rice, Altoon, 2 of our guys there. Tackles, sacks, there we go. INTs, Baxter at Florida State, one of our guys. So Georgia, most total offensive yards, most, highest scoring. Definitely just a totally different year than the last 2 years where Notre Dame and A&M were just kind of dominating. Here's where we are for defensive rankings. Okay, National Signing Day. We know most, but we'll go through really quick. Troy, running back. Daryl Johnson, Clemson. Barry ends up at Kansas. I really want him at Nebraska. That would have been fun. Worley, Butts. We knew Metcalf. Maggot, we knew at Florida. Barry was the big one that was kind of up in the air for me. That was going to be a big turning point. Walls going to Auburn. We knew that. I think we know all the offensive linemen. We know DT at Penn State. We know Armstrong. Roderick, he ends up at A&M. That's a huge get. Corner, we knew Dion. We knew Wolford. Oh, the last one is, and this is a big one, Atwater. I think he was Bama or Notre Dame. I'm going to guess Notre Dame. Bama! If Saban doesn't lose his job, he just got a wicked safety. Okay, I want to look at National Signing Day here. Auburn, the #1 recruiting class. 11... We just didn't get anybody get those big 5-star recruits. A&M had the most at 3. Okay, they may just not have had as many guys be ranked as 5 stars because last year, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Okay, here we are at the start of the 1986 season. So this is going to be the last season of this first video, guys. And yeah, so this is going to be it, last recruiting class, and then it's going to be video 2 coming in a week. So be on the lookout for that. Barry Alvarez keeps his job. Bobby Bowden staying on at DC at Pitt. Mac Brown staying at Texas. Pete staying at DC there. Harbaugh keeps his job. We knew him. Don James let go. Fresno State hires him. I do not like that move by Washington at all. Jimmy stays. Chip stays. Urban stays. Nealon stays. Ed Orgeron moves to Georgia as their OC. Okay. Tom Osborne stays, Joe Pa stays, Gary Patterson. Nick Saban moves to UTEP. Fired at Alabama, and he's going to be coaching at UTEP. My God. Bo Schembechler staying at Ohio State as the OC. Schnellenberger staying. He's on a hot seat. Kirby, obviously. Steve is staying. Dabo fired. Going to be Bowling Green's head coach and Barry Switzer. So Dabo Sweeney and freaking Nick Saban got fired in the same year, and they're coaching at Bowling Green and UTEP. Crazy. All right, I'm going to make the next recruiting class, and then we're going to wrap up this first vid. All right, guys, so here we are at the start of the 1986 season. Just made the recruiting class for this year. This is a decent class, definitely a few really good players, but not as good as last year's class for sure, but definitely some good ones. So we're going to hop right into it. So starting off at QB, we have Jeff George, who was actually the first overall pick by the Colts in like the 1990 draft. He went to Illinois, big Rocket Arm. He was kind of a bust in the NFL draft, but obviously a really good player, you know, in college. We got Neil O'Donnell, who played at Maryland. He played QB for the Steelers for quite a while. Then we got Andre Ware, who actually won the Heisman when he was playing at Houston, and he was like the 7th overall pick in the NFL draft. So Heisman winner and a first overall pick for the QBs. Running backs, we got 3. Or actually 4. We got Emmitt Smith, one of the best running backs of all time. You know, was part of the Cowboys dynasty. We've got all the Cowboys dynasty, the triplets in so far. Aikman was in last class. Irvin was the class before. And now we got Emmitt Smith. So he's looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State. Oh, I guess I didn't really look who the QBs were looking at. So Jeff George looking at Notre Dame, of course. They get everybody. Neil O'Donnell, Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State. Andre Ware, A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia. Emmett, Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State. Chris Warren, who's a really good running back in the NFL, played for the Seahawks. He's looking at A&M, Louisiana Tech, Texas, Florida. Blair Thomas looking at Georgia, A&M, Notre Dame, and he was like the 2nd or 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft in 1990. The last one is Larry Centers, who kind of was a fullback, running back, wide receiver hybrid. He had a ton of receiving yards in the NFL. He's going to a bunch of like small schools, it's looking like. We move on to wide receivers. We only have one. It is Ricky Prohl, who had a long NFL career. He played at Wake Forest. He's from the state of New York. He's looking at Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, SC, Michigan. If we look at tight ends, we got one, the legend Shannon Sharp. Now his brother Sterling was just recruited last year. Where did Sterling go? Did he go to Notre Dame? I think he did, and it looks like that's where Shannon might go. Also Mizzou, Kentucky, Ohio State, Georgia, Iowa. Be kind of cool if he went to Iowa and played with Troy Aikman. Move on to offensive line. We have one offensive tackle. It is Richmond Webb, who played at Texas A&M in real life. He's from the state of Texas. He's looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Nebraska, Penn State. Go to guards. We got 2. We got Keith Sims, who played at Iowa State. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. He's looking at Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana. And we got Dave Sott. He went to Penn State. He's from New Jersey. He's looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State, A&M. We have no centers. Then if we move on to defense, we got Tony Bennett, who's a big defensive end, played at Ole Miss. He's looking at Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri, A&M, Ohio State. And we have Keith McCants, who played at Alabama. He's from Mobile, Alabama. Bama is just not getting the recruits. Indiana is ahead of Bama with an Alabama 5-star recruit, which just... that's a tough look for Bama. Okay, we move on to defensive tackle. We got Ray Agnew, who's kind of an undersized kind of pass rusher on the inside. He's looking at USC, Oklahoma, Michigan, Alabama. Then we have one of the best players in the whole class, Cortez Kennedy. He went to the U in real life. He was like the 3rd overall pick by the Seahawks, NFL Hall of Famer defensive tackle. He's looking at Oklahoma, A&M, Texas, Arkansas. Then no outside linebackers, but we got 3 insides. First is Junior Seau. He went to USC in real life. He's from San Diego, California, and USC's not even on his list. USC and Bama are the 2 teams I'm like, you'd think they would be doing better in recruiting. They're not. Arkansas, Notre Dame, Cal, Ohio State, Bama, A&M. Okay, maybe we did have some outsides actually. Oh yeah, so I put both these guys at outside linebacker actually. So first one is Bryce Pop. He played at Northern Iowa, Texas, Florida, USC, Miami. The other one is Chris Singleton from Tampa, Florida. He played at University of Arizona. He's looking at Notre Dame, A&M, Georgia, Florida. Okay, we move on to corners, and we got two. We got Eric Davis, who's from Alabama. He played at Jacksonville State. He's looking at Alabama and Tennessee, his 1-2. And then we got Mark Carrier from LA, California. USC is not on his list from their hometown. That's just USC is struggling. They fired Pete Carroll. So Ohio State, Colorado, Nebraska, Michigan State, and Georgia. Then we got one safety is Leroy Butler. He played at Florida State. He was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's looking at Florida, UCF, Georgia, Miami, South Carolina. So that is where we are looking at for recruiting right now. We are going to get into this 86 season. So this is also, guys, the last season of this first episode. You know, we got 5 more full episodes after this, which sounds crazy, but it's also like, oh man, I'm already a 6 through recording this. It feels very daunting before I started. Like, how am I going to record this many, make this many recruiting classes, all that. But I mean, I think it's going pretty smooth so far, and I'm really hoping it's gonna be very entertaining and interesting for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna go through the preseason polls. So Georgia beat Army last year. UCLA is the #1 team in the country. I don't buy it. Georgia looks like they have a really good offense and a horrible defense. Interesting for Georgia. Ohio State A+ kind of across the board. A&M A+ across the board. Florida A+. Michigan looks decent. Notre Dame A+ across the board. Oklahoma looks all right. Penn State looks really good. North Carolina State somehow is ranked there. A&M, Colorado, Utah, CF. Army with Steve Young. We got the U. Florida State, Nebraska, Baylor, Auburn. I'm looking. So there's Oregon. USC actually is an A. Where's Bama? LSU A-. Clemson. I think they fired Dabo, right? It's actually been like over a day since I recorded one of these. There's no way. I must have missed Alabama, right? There's no way they're this low. We are going to sim to week 9, and then we'll see. All right, so here we are in week 9. Let's take a look at recruiting. Obviously, some big time players here. We will see where they end up. Jeff George, of course, the #1 quarterback, ends up at Notre Dame. Neil O'Donnell looking like Georgia, most likely, maybe Michigan. So Georgia just continuing with their QBs. Andre Ware looking like Mizzou, Rice, ULM, Kansas. So he's looking at small schools. Running back Emmitt Smith, Ohio State, North Carolina State, Georgia, looking like his most likely. Chris Warren going to A&M, rich get richer. Blair Thomas looking like he's going to Auburn pretty much basically. Larry Centers looking like Texas, TCU, Arkansas, Boise State. Wide receiver. Ricky Prohl, only receiver in the class. He's looking at Georgia, Michigan, maybe USC. Tight end, and this is huge. Shannon Sharp, is he going to go to Notre Dame with his brother? It's Notre Dame, Ohio State, maybe Akron, NIU. It's Notre Dame or Ohio State for Shannon frickin' Sharp. Richmond Webb looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Nebraska was on there. Sims looking like Indiana, Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State. Sauts looking like Georgia, Penn State, Michigan. No centers. DNs, Tony Bennett going to A&M. Rich get richer. They're doing great. Keith McCann's looking like Florida, Tennessee, Bama. D-tackle Agnew going to Michigan. Michigan gets a big time D-tackle. Cortez Kennedy. This one is going to be massive as well. Looking like Texas has the inside track. A&M still alive. You know, Arkansas for Bryce Pop. He's going to UCLA. Nice pickup for them. Singleton looking like Florida. Florida's doing well. They definitely are winning between Florida State, Miami, and Florida for the state. You know, they're definitely out in front. Junior Ncaa looking like Arkansas, Nebraska, but most likely Notre Dame. Then if we get into safeties, our corners, we got Eric Davis looking like Bama or Auburn or Tennessee. And then Mark Carrier, Michigan State, Ohio State, maybe Nebraska, maybe Georgia. Then last but not least, we have Leroy Butler, who's looking like a lot of schools, but you know, Florida's in the lead right now. Okay, let's see where we are sitting. So Penn State sitting at 6-0, Michigan 6-0, Notre Dame 8-0, Syracuse, UCF, Ohio State, Nebraska. So it looks like A&M has taken a bit of a stumble, and they've been so good, have the most national championships so far. Oh no, they're 2 losses, but a bit of a stumble. They probably won't make the Natty now. Nebraska doing well, Florida State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Florida 4-2, Miami, Georgia. So a lot of teams still having really, honestly, good records. Heisman watch right now, Jim Harbaugh leading the way for Notre Dame. So we got Harbaugh coaching at Oregon State and the QB, kind of wild. Just kind of look at the country. So Arnold at Florida leading the country. Harbaugh in 3rd in the country in passing. Rushing, Okoye leading the way for UCLA. There's our top receiving yards. There's tackles. There's sacks. And there is INTs. Can quickly look at team stats here. So total offense right now, it's Ohio State leading the way. USC has a really good offense this year. Points, okay, so Florida actually has a really good offense, 46.6 points per game. Urban Meyer really seems to be kind of dominating on that side of the ball. Here's where we're at for points allowed per game and total yards allowed. So we're going to sim to conference championship weekend. Want to make sure I look at recruiting one time again before National Signing Day. And then, yeah. Okay, let's see where we're sitting. Okay, and did Notre Dame lose? Notre Dame is still alive, and they are not playing a conference championship game. So they're basically in. I got to remember, I keep forgetting. I'm going to put a little note here. Put Notre Dame in ACC. I think the ACC. You could go Big Ten. I think ACC, like Big Ten, already has Penn State, Ohio State, Nebraska, Michigan. I think even it out, we'll put them in the ACC. But anyway, it looks like if Penn State wins, it's probably them and Notre Dame. Honestly, if Nebraska wins, it's probably them versus Notre Dame. A&M low-key has an outside shot still, but they're not in the SEC championship game. It's Florida versus Mississippi. Ole Miss. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're sitting right now. So let's kind of just sim through some of these games individually. Really, the big one here is Nebraska-Penn State. Let's sim through this game. Oh, Penn State kind of beat up on Nebraska. Yeah, I didn't think Nebraska, they only had 1 loss, but like roster-wise, they honestly weren't that great. USC Stanford, somehow SC made it, and they get killed by Stanford. So yeah, it's kind of basically set it. It's going to be 2 undefeated teams with Penn State and Notre Dame, barring anything super weird. Okay, let's go to that. That's a big time game. We got Joe Pa versus Lou Holtz. And this will be Notre Dame's. Oh, they actually played in the 2nd national championship in 81 as well. But this will be 1, 2, 3. This will be Notre Dame's 4th appearance. So Curtis Arnold wins the Heisman at Florida State, or at Florida. So he's another guy. If they were able to get into maybe the national champion next year, something like that, he's a guy who you could be looking at possibly getting in player of the decade. Okay, let's see here. So yeah, Penn State, Notre Dame. Cool. 2nd time they're going to match up. And Notre Dame's 4th appearance in our first 7 years of the sim. But they only have 1 win right now. I mean, they've only played 3 so far, but they're 1-2. They really don't want to drop to 1-4. And they're trying to tie A&M with 2 wins in our first video in the first 7 years. So really close on offense. Very similar. Right, 2nd and 3rd. It looks like Notre Dame's a little more pass heavy. And honestly, Penn State's very balanced, honestly. Who's Penn State's QB again? Yes, it's Rich Gannon. And they have a really good running back in Byers. We got Jim Harbaugh so we got, yeah, that's just got great QBs in this matchup. Honestly, Harbaugh has a chance to get player of the decade as well. If he's able to win like 2 national championships, he's only a sophomore right now at QB. Rich Gannon too, we'll have to see, maybe try to win a Heisman for one of them. Yeah, so this is a big one. Frickin' Notre Dame trying to win their 2nd, already in their 4th. Penn State's 2nd appearance already as well, which is huge. Joe Pa leading the way there. These kind of Northeast schools, other than A&M, are really kind of dominating between Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Okay, I'm going to go through the first quarter here. Notre Dame up 7-0. Penn State answers back. Then Penn State scores again, 14-7 after 1. And I think, yeah, Harbaugh here's driving. We got a 3rd and 10 here for Jim Harbaugh in at QB. They also got Sterling Sharp as one of their receivers. Harbaugh drops back. They're going to do a little screen pass out on the edge, and the running back's going down. Brian Romero, he's like a 97 overall. I think they technically could have still had Dupree this year, right? I think he only would have been a senior this year, but he is gone, obviously. It would have been crazy if they still had him. So it's 14-10 Penn State. Gannon, Byers, incomplete. Okay, 3rd and 4 here. This is where you want to be if you're in your Penn State. You got two kind of superstars. You got Rich Gannon and Byers, and you just kind of want to 3rd and 4. You can kind of go to both, but here they're going empty with Gannon. He's going to throw an out route to the outside, and that's a great tackle on the edge by the Notre Dame defender. Remember a few years ago too, it was Rod Woodson for Notre Dame against A&M, had that pick 6 on a play very similar to that. Harbaugh incomplete. 3rd and 5, 4th and 5. So Notre Dame punting. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Okay, Byers, Gannon. Okay, so they're just kind of trading punts here. Gannon, Byers, Gannon. Okay, we got 1st and goal from the 4 for Penn State. You know, Gannon's been really good, 93 yards only, but 2 touchdowns. Been really, just efficient with the football. Got Byers in the backfield. Notre Dame's playing super heavy up front. Byers going to try to bust that out. It's a nice tackle on the edge for Notre Dame. For the Domers, we're going to sim one play. Okay, we got 3rd and goal here. Huge play for Notre Dame. Can they hold it to a 7-point game, or are they going to be down 2 scores right kind of before the half here? Gannon gonna drop back, kind of quick game. Oh, that should have been picked right at the linebacker's hands over the middle. Gannon tried to give it away. And it is 17-10. Let's see if Harbaugh has a drive in him. Harbaugh intercepted right before the half. Oh, man. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. My Harbaugh, only a sophomore right now. That was a terrible mistake. Now you got Rich Gannon. I mean, if Notre Dame can hold him to a field goal here, you're only down 10. That's not that bad. Oh, there it is. Nice tackle underneath, and Notre Dame is going to get the stop. That should take us till half. Penn State will kick their 3 here. They went for it. For some reason, I do not understand that. Didn't mean to watch the kickoff, but there we go. For some reason, Penn State went for that on 4th and 4 instead of going up 10, and now it is still a 1-score game after the half. And I think I'm going to just sim through the 3rd quarter here, and we'll get to the 4th, and then we'll watch some more. So go through the quarter. Notre Dame ties it up, and they're driving, and they score. A field goal, I think. Okay, yeah, just a field goal. Okay, we're at the start of the 4th quarter right here with a huge 3rd and 8 for Penn State. That quarter definitely belonged to Notre Dame. Rich Gannon has got to make a play here for the Nittany Lions. Drops back. Time. Fire. Oh my goodness, that was a great throw by Rich Gannon. Make a play with his arm. I don't know what kind of receivers Penn State has. Gannon drops back, pressure in his face, and he's going down. Gannon sacked. Notre Dame up 3, and they got a chance to go up 2 scores here if Harbaugh can do something. 2nd and 2, 3rd and 12 though. So now all of a sudden Notre Dame in a huge 3rd down themselves. Penn State can just be right here. If they get a stop, they need to make a tackle, get him in front of the sticks. Harbaugh kind of sliding, steps up in the pocket, has a little fade away throw. Harbaugh honestly hasn't been great today. 241 and an INT. But yeah, there we go. Fair catch, and Gannon has a chance here. And we got another 3rd down. 4 of 14. This honestly being a very just defensive battle. These are number 2 and number 3 offenses in the country, but the defenses have came to play. Okay, motion down. Harbaugh gonna slide. Fire that over the top. That should have been picked. That really should have been picked, and it is 4th and 7. Once again, it's going to go back to Harbaugh. Romero, incomplete. 3rd and 4, 4th and 2. They got to punt it. And now Gannon just hits for 27, hits for 10, and a touchdown. 20-yard touchdown. We still have 4 minutes left. Harbaugh needs to do 3rd and 9, and okay. Harbaugh has completely fallen apart here. 3rd and 4. This isn't quite the game for Notre Dame, but if they don't get a stop here, it's going to be real trouble. Gannon and Byers, can they have one more big play in them? Gannon's going to drop back. They're bringing a blitz off the edge. They have a curl route sitting down, and they are going to be right on the edge of field goal range. Marcus Armstrong having a huge national championship. I think that was 117 or 171, and 2 touchdowns. So he's been great. Gannon with an absolutely amazing clutch play. They're going to do a handoff to their receiver on the kind of jet motion there. He's going to go down, but the clock is ticking now for Notre Dame. 2:20 left. They do not want to allow a score. Gannon and Byers in the backfield. Gannon under center. The Notre Dame defensive end is just glitching at the bottom of the screen here. Motion across the formation for Penn State. They're going to let this clock wind a little bit here. Okay, now they're going to snap it to a handoff to Byers, who falls forward for 5-6 yards, and Notre Dame is going to use their first time out, and this is the play of the day. From here, it's a relatively long field goal for a college kicker. I don't know what Penn State's kicker's like. They're going empty. Gannon, fire. Misses his man. He threw that half a second early. What is Penn State gonna do here? They're going for it. They said it's a little too far for our field goal kicker, so let's go end the game. If they pick up first down here, game's almost basically over. If they stop him, Notre Dame is completely alive. Fires it in for a slant over the middle, and Notre Dame has to use their second timeout. Rich Gannon, almost 400 yards today. Byers, and that's a touchdown, and that's basically gonna do it. Harbaugh just couldn't really get offense going, and they put together they actually score here, a last second Miller touchdown, but Penn State is gonna win this one by 3, and Joe Pa wins his first national championship, and that makes Notre Dame 1-3 in national championship appearances so far in the sim. They've made it 4 times, and they're 1-3. Wow. There it is. Joe Pa wins it. I mean, Notre Dame, they've been the best recruiting team. They have the most talent. They've made 4 national championships in 7 years and only won 1. That is kind of incredible. So Gannon was absolutely nails. So once again, he just threw his ring into possibly trying to be the player of the decade. Incredible in the national championship. If he doesn't leave early, he's going to be back for Penn State next year. They actually really contained Byers, but it was kind of the Armstrong and Rich Gannon show. For Notre Dame, Sharp had a big day. He's only they're just so young. He's a sophomore, Miller's a sophomore, and freaking Harbaugh's a sophomore. He's already a 98 overall. Didn't have his best day today, but Notre Dame is going nowhere. They're going to have those 3 on offense for the next 2 seasons. Crazy, but Penn State does it. Okay, we're going to advance through this last week. Okay, top 25 really quick. So Penn State, Florida gets second. Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Army, TCU, UCLA. Heisman's Curtis Arnold wins it at Florida. Byers. There we go. Let's look at All-Americans. Arnold, first team. Byers. Michael Irvin at Florida. What did he put up? 1,500 yards. He's only a sophomore, a true sophomore. 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Crazy. Dombrowski. Charles Haley is last year at Notre Dame. 8 sacks. Cornelius Bennett and Greg Lloyd. Okay. We have to keep an eye on Greg Lloyd. He's been a 3-time All-American. He has 13. Okay, I'm going to add him to the list because I don't think we're ever going to get many defensive players. It's just too hard to put up stats, but he's already been a 3-time All-American at least. He could be if he comes back next year. He's got 13 touchdowns, 2 defensive scores, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries. Crazy. Okay, we got to keep our eye. I hope he comes back next year just to kind of see what he does at Oklahoma his senior year. Benny Blades, returner. this year. Okay, second team. Kind of just go down. Spielman at Ohio State. Tyron Baxter. Okay, let's look at freshmen. Todd Moore, no. Daryl Johnston at Clemson at 1,000 yards. Eric White at Florida. Mandarich at A&M. I forgot they got him. Defensively, Dion at Florida. First team. He had 4 INTs and a defensive score in his first season at Florida. That's pretty cool. Okay, there's our All-Americans. Let's quickly look. So here's our top passers. Arnold, 4,800 yards. Gannon was 4th. Rushing, Okoye was 2nd in the country. Receiving, Michael Irvin, 2nd in the country as a true sophomore. Tackles, sacks, and INTs. Let's look at team stats quickly. So Florida's offense was sick. Urban Meyer is doing some nasty shit out there. Passing, just lapping everybody passing the football. Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan. Let's look at defense, points, UCF. Okay, let's look at signing day. So George O'Donnell, Andre Ware ends up at ULM. Running back Emmett ends up at Ohio State. That's a huge pickup for them. We knew all the rest of the running backs. Wide receiver Prohl, we knew. Oh, big one I forgot is Shannon. He ends up at Kentucky. That's a huge get for Kentucky. Webb ends up at Ohio State. Sims ends up, okay, so Ohio State's doing really good right here. D ends, we knew Bennett. McCants ends up at Florida. Agnew. Cortez ends up at Arkansas. Outside, Singleton ends up at Florida. Pop ends up at UCLA. Junior ends up at Arkansas. Just beat out Notre Dame. Corner, we knew both those. And then last one is Leroy Butler, who ends up Georgia Southern beats out Florida for the big time safety. So yeah, I think Ohio State definitely had the best class. 4 5 stars, 8. They just didn't sign that many guys. Otherwise, their class would have even been better. But LSU, USC, Texas, A&M, Florida. So Notre Dame, for the first time in a while, they did get 4 5 stars, but so they just didn't really have the depth. Still looks like a pretty good class, even though they weren't in the top 10. Okay, we got 2 other things I want to do here. So we're going to go to custom conferences. I have my little note. I want to put Notre Dame in the ACC. We'll put them in the Atlantic. Okay, so there we go. Actually, I want to just kind of look. So that puts Notre Dame in with Florida State, Clemson, BC, Wake, Syracuse. I like that. I think that's a good spot. Make the ACC a little tougher too. Okay, last thing, I just want to quickly look at coaches. So Alvarez still safe for now. Bobby Bowden is at Louisville as the DC. Mac Brown gets fired. Colorado State hires him. Pete Carroll still at Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat at Oregon State. Harbaugh's just not been a good coach. Woody Hayes is safe for now. He's 81-14. He's got a better record than Lou Holtz, who's obviously safe. Don James goes to West Virginia. Jimmy Johnson is safe. Chip is on a hot seat. Urban been really good. Nealon's still there. Ed Orgeron is safe as the OC at Georgia, Nebraska. Tom Osborne safe. Joe Pa safe. Gary Patterson safe. Nick Saban safe at UTEP. Bo Schembechler at OC is safe. Howard is on the hot seat. Kirby Smart safe. Steve Spurrier becomes the OC at Texas. So South Carolina gets rid of Spurrier. Dabo Sweeney safe. Switzer safe. Whittingham. Where was... Oh, yeah. Saban safe. So that is it, guys. That's our coaches. That is where we are going to end this first episode. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, you thought it was interesting, and you guys want to make sure you guys don't miss the next episode. We have 5 more coming of this series where I'm going all the way to, I think, 2021 from 1980. Please sub, guys. Send this to your friend if you think they would think it's interesting. If they think these kind of resets and all this stuff, it's a ton of work to do this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found it interesting with the coaches and the recruiting and the national championships and all the stuff I'm going to track. Remember to leave a comment down below to help me figure out the players of the decade. So far, I got Kenny Minchie, the Notre Dame QB, Marcel Reed, the A&M QB, Herschel Walker at UCF running back, Greg Lloyd, 3-time All-American linebacker. Let me know who else I should add. And obviously, we still have 3 more seasons in the 80s, so guys could come and go from that list as well. So, oh, and actually, if you're watching this in the future, the next episode of the series will be right here. So you can just watch part 2. Just click this video. You know, if it's a week past, just click this video right here, watch part 2. Let's go.